Yo. Yo, my bad. I genuinely thought that they had it scheduled for like 7, so that's my fault. um yeah, I definitely thought it was scheduled for 7. Yo, we here though. I'm here. Um Man, a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. So, first and foremost, out of the gate, the title. The title, and then also speaking about people, ranking players based off of accolades, et cetera, et cetera. What is what? Um. Oh yeah. How do I? Okay, I know how to invite people now. I'm late because I thought JD had scheduled it for 7. I didn't think he scheduled it at 6 o'clock. I didn't know he did that. Yo. So now, can y'all hear me? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can hear me. Yo. So the title of the video, or the stream. So not too long ago, I think like maybe a week ago, we had a conversation about top tens and where everybody ranked, et cetera, et cetera. And in my top 10 in the video, I made the argument that Larry Bird is not a top 10 player of all time. Now, when it came down to me explaining myself, I don't know why, but many people, I guess, misinterpret what I said, or they just decided not to care at all about anything I was presenting to them. Because the thing that I argued is something that I don't think anybody really debates with, but I don't know why people got offended and act as if like it was that big of a deal. I believe Larry Bird is not a top 10 player, not only because at this point I think there's like 12 players that can make an argument to be top 10, but more importantly, I don't think he's a top 10 player because I don't think he's strung along enough years in his career to present himself in that conversation, because I think the standard and bar that needs to be set for top 10 players should be playing at a high level, regular season and post, for a bare minimum, 9 to 10 years, or obviously whoever does it more than someone else, then obviously they'll be able to put themselves in that conversation. And in my opinion, I think Larry Bird has that in the regular season, but in the postseason is where I think he falls short. And in particular, there's other players who also just play longer, better longer. Now, if I was leaning more peak wise, because I think a lot of people argue, well, like, look at his peak. Well, look what he did. 3-time MVP in a row. Look how many championships he won, yada, yada, yada. Then I wouldn't argue with that, actually. I agree. His peak is a top 10 peak. However, I'm of the belief that I think many of us, especially if you are constructing a team and you want to, to select the best player on a roster, I think many of you all would probably lean more into giving more quality years versus giving you better peak. So what I mean by that is I think we can all, maybe not all of us, but I believe that Larry Bird has a better peak than Kobe Bryant, right? But is Larry Bird's peak trumping the 3 more years, prime years, that I'm getting from Kobe in contrast to Bird? And in my opinion, it does not. I don't think that it is. I think that even though his peak is better, I think peaks, especially outside of like the top 3 to 4 peaks, I think peaks are so close to one another, especially when it comes to comparing across eras, the role that you played, the team that you're on, that even though somebody's peak is better than someone else's, that they're still good enough to put on a team and get the objective done, which is winning basketball games, right? So that's the reason why I don't value peak as much as I think a lot of other people do. And because of that, even though I think Bird's peak is better than a lot of other players, and he does have, top 10 status, I would rather have, 12, 13 years of prime basketball from a player rather than this guy's 2 to 3 year peak is better than this other guy's 2 to 3 year peak. Because in my window of opportunity of being able to dominate, win basketball games, and, the objective can definitely extend itself a bit more further, and it's probably a bit more impactful in those regards. And I think that's where Bird falls short in. That's it. I think that the early stages of Bird's career aren't as well polished as many people love to believe as well. But all in all, I think Bird, as great as a player he was, a phenomenal player, I don't think he's pieced together enough years. But this thing goes into the other argument that I saw many people on TikTok have, because the argument that many of you all on TikTok decided to use was basically just reading off of the basketball reference page without putting into any context. So, yes, I'm happy that many of you all know fun facts about Larry Bird because you watch YouTube videos or you heard Chilltown go on and on about Larry Bird. However, I think we should develop and continue to grow the conversation around basketball players and understand that just regurgitating someone's basketball reference page or just regurgitating their accolades may not give the most accurate depiction of who that player is. Right? I think we can all agree with that. Going back to Kobe Bryant, yes, Kobe was an all-star 18 times, but I don't think any of us would believe that highlighting Kobe as an 18-time all-star gives an accurate depiction of who he was as a player. I don't think that Kobe not winning finals MVP, especially in 2002, gives an accurate depiction of who he was as a player. I don't believe that Tim Duncan never winning Defensive Player of the Year gives us an accurate depiction of how great of a defender he was, even though he's a better defender than plenty of players who won DPOY. I don't think that and so going back to Larry Bird, I don't think that Larry Bird winning MVP 3 straight years is really that much more different than anybody else having 3 straight MVP caliber seasons, because there are years where players who don't win MVP, but those years are just as good, if not better, than Larry Bird's seasons. So 93 Jordan, where he didn't win an MVP, I don't think any of you all are going to sit here and make the argument, oh, well, Jordan potentially had the ability to win 3 in a row, but the last year, 93, he didn't win it. So that's why it's different. But then if I ask you, was a 93 Jordan better than the years in which Bird won MVP? I'm pretty sure many of you all would say, yes, it is. I'm pretty sure many of y'all would argue that 2014 LeBron is just as good, if not better, than some of those years that Larry Bird won his MVPs. But because he didn't win it in a row, then that completely negates what he did, because it's not 3 in a row. Even this year with Jokic not winning MVP 3 times in a row, as we clearly saw, the narrative came into play. People wanted to put other things into consideration instead of the actual play of Jokic during the regular season. And we all know for a fact that Jokic played at an MVP level this year. You could very well argue that this year's version of Jokic is, I would argue this year's version of Jokic is better than his first MVP season. But again, he didn't win MVP this year. But more importantly, again, Jokic not winning an MVP is not an accurate depiction of how good he is. Jokic finishing on the second team All-NBA does not give us an accurate depiction of how well he is. Again, you can go throughout the list of accolades and accomplishments. Now, are they important? Are they important? I think they are important with the proper context. But the problem is that when we have these conversations, the proper context is lacking immensely, which is why we get into these conversations about what a player did or didn't do and how good a player is. There's so many things that come into works when it comes to determining how good a player is in contrast to their peers. When it comes to the All-NBA, all defensive teams, MVPs, all those accolades are all based on the era that he played in, all based off his competition, all based off of the level of winning, because as we all know, the odds of you, especially over the past like 30, 40 years, the odds of you winning an MVP, and somebody said, what is your top 10 again? I'll get to that. The odds of you winning MVP and not being on one of the top, 3 to 4 teams in your conference is very, very slim. But does that thus mean you were no longer playing at an MVP level? Of course not. Of course not. And if you are going to claim that playing at an MVP level requires that you are on a winning team, then I would have to then question not only some of the more recent MVPs, but also what about Moses Malone? What about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I think even Jordan has a year where he won MVP and he wasn't one of the top 3 records in the Eastern Conference as well. So, and before I let people up, let me tell the top 10 again. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and even Kareem, boy, he's looking sketchy by the day. Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant. Those are my 5. Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson, Steph Curry, Bill Russell. Those are the 10. 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 But yeah, those are my stances. And I mean, there's plenty of examples throughout NBA history about how all NBA selections or awards don't give us accurate depictions. How you have to do a little bit more digging, a little bit more understanding, and constantly. And yes, Larry Bird is number 11. A little bit more digging, a little bit better understanding of how great some of these players were in contrast to their peers. And just because they did not get selected for an All NBA team, it does not then mean that they did not have an All NBA season or an MVP caliber season if they didn't win MVP. And I think when contextualizing that, going back to the initial statement about Larry Bird winning 3 MVPs in a row is not so significant that it should present him in the top 10, because there's several players who had 3 MVP caliber seasons in a row. Some players who didn't win MVP certain years are better than some of those years that Larry Bird won his MVPs. Larry Bird having 9 straight seasons where I think he was like top 5 in the MVP race. I don't think people understand that's fairly common in the top 10. That's fairly common. And if they didn't have that, then there's a possibility where the voting is just completely misrepresented, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 2017 and or 2018, Kevin Durant finished like 9th in the MVP race, but I don't think any of us would make the argument that finishing 9th in the MVP race is an accurate depiction of how good he was. No, Hakeem is in my top 10. I don't know if you're saying that. And I think the more important thing is that all of us, not all of us, because if you're really, really huge on peak, then I can understand that. But I think majority of people would lean more into having more prime years at a high level, at an All NBA caliber level, a clear All NBA caliber level, even if it's fringe MVP caliber level, versus having, a slightly better peak over someone else. I think most people would lean that way. And I think that's where some of the discrepancy is, but I don't think it's that big of a discrepancy at all. So we're going to put the link in. We're going to put the link in, invite some people up. There's the link. Duncan did not have longevity offensively. Hakeem did. You can argue that. Yeah. You can argue that, I guess. Also, wait, longevity, I guess, is all subjective, because I think Duncan came into the NBA very clearly All NBA caliber, fringe MVP caliber his rookie season. I think he's basically sustained that all the way like through 2008. So I don't know how that's. Yeah, I don't know. I get a good job from Mars.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo.
Do you do longevity based relative to era, or do you do it just based off how great they were for an extended period of time?
Nah, just keeping it, just not even in contrast to everybody else. It doesn't really matter there.
Okay. Because I feel a lot of people do it like relative to era, and it's like, it's kind of like, it's like, it's kind of a cop out in my opinion.
Even if though, because I think Birds, because majority, like having 10-year, the thing is, like, having 10 or more All NBA caliber seasons is rare. I don't want to make it seem like it's not, but for top 10 status, it's much more common than I think many people recognize. Like way more common than I think y'all realize. I think majority of people's top 10, I would go as far as probably say even majority of people's top 20 have like 10 All NBA caliber seasons, if not more. So like with Bird's longevity is there. I'm not saying it's like non-existent, but in contrast to other players in the top 10 to 20, it doesn't stand out as much as everybody else's does.
Top 20?
Yeah. How many players do you think have made at least made 9 All NBA teams. Like
I know everyone in the top 10 has made at least 9. Because Curry just got 9 this
Probably
year.
about 25.
Yeah. And I would say
think
top
it's
20 because, like, a lot of people would have D Wade top 20. I don't think he had. Oh, we had All NBA caliber. You mean like first, second, or third, or just All NBA in general?
They're just All NBA caliber. Like, or if you just want to say first or second, but like All NBA caliber seasons where they like were very clearly like one of the best players at their positions.
Does D Wade have 10 of those?
I don't think so. No,
No.
but I don't.
Yeah,
But I
'cause,
don't.
like, I said, he's
I
like
don't
a top 20
consider.
player for a lot of
Oh,
people.
I don't. Okay, I guess for them, but for me, I don't think he is. If you just solely just look at how many players have just made at bare minimum 10. Oh yeah, no, it is. It's 25 players who made 10 All NBA teams.
Oh
25.
shit, I was on the mark.
That's
Yeah,
kind
you're
of a
on the
lot.
mark. That's crazy. Damn, I didn't think it was that many. So again, I'm not saying that should be the end all be all because there's some players who I believe had it because I think Curry's right at 9, but I think he's had 10. Garnett is right at 9. I think he's also had 10. And there's some players like Hakeem who has 12, but I think Hakeem has like 13, maybe possibly 14 All NBA caliber seasons. But long story short, like there are a lot of players who've played at that level for like around 9 to 10 years. So when people say Bird has, 9 straight seasons where he's playing, he's a top 5 MVP candidate, that is amazing. I'm not denying it. But those are things that are like fairly common. And if it's not in a row, sure, maybe it may not be in a row, but I think that's predicated more off of a fun fact rather than what you would rather value. Because I think the first 2 years that Shaq was with the Lakers, he didn't finish top 5 in the MVP race. But I don't think anybody would argue that he wasn't in at bare minimum conversation to be a top 5 player in the league at that time.
All right.
So yeah. Pack that man Bird out of here, bro. Come on, let's be honest.
I mean, he's 11. Like you could.
I don't mind it.
It's almost the biggest Bird fan could probably convince you to be 10 if they really wanted to make the argument.
But the problem is like even when it comes to like this conversation about top 10s, again, like I said before, there's like 12 players that can make an argument that they are top 10. Y'all, people act as if like it is a complete disrespect to them by me saying that they are 11. Like Chilltown was like, yo, I'm gonna see you. We're gonna have this conversation. And I'm like, chill, you have Kobe 11. Like, what are we talking about right now?
I mean, he's probably one of the worst defenders in that range, but Curry's a better offensive player than him. So that's why I would have him over Bird.
Mike check.
Yeah, we hear you started. We hear you.
Yo, so is it separated from longevity? Like, all right, obviously we just confirmed that how common it is to have All NBA caliber seasons for at least a decade. So the separated is MVP caliber and GOAT caliber seasons. Is that the separator?
No, the separator for me is it's still like who did it for longer, and also like how much is it translating to playoffs? Because I don't think for some of the years, as we know, for Magic, it's not. I don't think it's translating. And even if you think it's translating, it's definitely getting noticeably worse. The problem for Bird is that because he doesn't have so many seasons, when he goes into the postseason, he basically needs to be hitting all the time in the postseason. And for me, like he has like probably 9 or 10 regular seasons at that level, but then when you get into the postseason, he doesn't have 9 or 10. He has even fewer. And depending on how you may even view about him in his rookie season, which I don't, if you want to count his rookie season as one of them, that's fine. But 82, 83 are just not seasons that I don't think anybody would argue is at an all NBA caliber level, especially the same level in play in which other top 10s are giving you. So that means he has 1, 2, at best, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, like 7. Yeah. He has at best 7 seasons in the playoffs where he's playing at that level. I don't think that's nowhere near enough.
So you think Curry has more or equal to that? 7 years.
I think Curry has probably potentially. I think Curry and him relatively same longevity. I'm just giving Curry the benefit of the doubt because I think he can just, if he plays well one more season, I mean at that point it's done.
Okay, yeah. For me, it's their longevity is that close too. That's why I got Curry like top 12. You know what I'm saying? It's that close. But like it's more so. I'm more so interested like in terms of your criteria in regards to like because like we all know the top 10 has longevity. The top 10 have multiple MVP caliber seasons. So like. So you said playoff translation. What is the other separators?
Playoff translation. Peak plays a little bit a part of it as well. How long you're able to do it, and I think the biggest objective for me when I'm like looking at players is how well you can counter and grow as a player to where I don't have to build like such specifically uniquely built teams. If that makes sense. Like the more well-rounded you are, or the more overwhelmingly dominant you may be on one side of the floor, just whatever you're doing, that kind of reduces it. I just can't get over the fact that Bird in the postseason saw very, very clear struggles, very clear dip in production, efficiency, impact before Dennis Johnson got there. I can't get over that. And then when you go back and read some of the articles, when you go back and watch a lot of the footage, like you can like very clearly see that there's like underlining flaws in his game. And it's not like he's Curry, where Curry also had very clear underlining flaws in his game early on. And then as he's progressed now, Curry is a better ball handler and defender now than he was, in the early stages of his career, while still sustaining a lot of his value as a scorer, a floor spacer, an off-ball mover. He's not as quick as he once was, but he still sustains a lot of that value. So there's some level of improvement that allows him to counter some of the things that teams will throw at him, so he's not as deficient. I don't know if Bird ever improved in those regards enough, because I don't see it enough, rather than the team just getting insurmountably better as time progressed, to the point where like some of these years you can very clearly argue that he's on like potentially the best team of all time. Like I think the 86 Celtics have a very legitimate argument to be the best team to ever play basketball. And I think that could help mask a lot of his flaws that he potentially never really addressed, if that makes sense.
No, teammate tax. I get it.
Yeah. It's not, I don't think it's really a teammate tax, because I think Curry also is there as well, but Curry,
I'm about to say,
you can clearly see Curry.
What Curry did, especially the last couple seasons, proved like your initial part, which was like being able to do it in different variety of teammates and situations. You know what I mean? So like I do agree with you. Bird like Magic had a more stable core cast, but yeah, that's essentially teammate test. Like I get you.
But I don't think from what I've watched, I don't even think Bird got better at the things that he necessarily struggled with that much. I just think that his team was just noticeably better, if that makes sense. Like the actual problems that Bird had as a player, I don't think he ever really addressed it to the levels of which like Curry as a ball handler.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think he ever addressed it to that extent.
So it's like where Jokic, where you don't think he got that much better defensively. He just didn't run to like the team to like expose him.
Similar to that, like I think Jokic definitely got better as a defender, but not enough for me to be like, this is changing my opinion on who he is completely. Another thing. Okay, so Garnett, I think, is another great example of throughout his career is a very legitimate argument that Garnett as a first scoring option, he isn't good enough to do that, but doesn't mean he can't be the best player. But then you would think that at some point in his career he got slightly better. I don't think he necessarily did. What he did in the 2008 against the Celtics kind of further proves that, because even when his team got better, him as an offensive weapon really wasn't like noticeably better. It's like still the same player. So those are things he just didn't improve on.
I think he improved as a passer, but like he wasn't.
Maybe
better teammate for sure.
He was great. He was great as a defender, but I don't think he was peak defensively or scoring wise.
So, I feel like his job was easier defensively on the Celtics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, how much you take account of that too? Like, in regards to situation where I don't have to perform at all-time levels, but have the same level of success.
But I think especially in their peaks, if it's later on that we might have the different conversation. But at their peaks, I think players, even if they're on great teams, are still going to perform at an extraordinarily high level. So, like Curry with KD is still playing at an extraordinarily high level. Bird with McHale and Parrish and DJ is still playing at an extraordinarily high level. Same with Magic. Same with Shaq playing with Kobe, and Shaq playing with Penny. Like, they're still going to play at a really, really high level, regardless of who you put on them. And I think that's just an indication of the caliber of peak and player that they are, that even if I put talent around you, you still sustain a level of high performance without seeing like any regression and dip or whatever. Like, even as Kobe is starting to put up more and more shots as the three-peat continues, Shaq is still getting 28 to 30 points a night. Like that's not really changing, if that makes sense.
And all-time great rebound too.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a question about Kevin Garnett. So out of the times he lost in the first round, which ones would you say were like directly his fault?
Directly, I don't think there's.
They just weren't good. Like
I just don't think he was. Yeah, I don't think he was. Wasn't that
Because
good.
like I looked up like recently, how do you feel about when he faced the Sonics?
I guess you can. I think that one, but I just don't think he was on a team that was good enough to really maximize him as an offensive weapon, bro. Like scoring wise, I know for a fact he struggled against them and the Spurs, but like the Sonics, I don't think they really had because Sean Kemp wasn't there anymore, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like
he
the
wasn't.
personnel.
Yeah,
I don't think the personnel necessarily was there, but like, especially against like the Spurs, I can't like be too hell bent on like punishing him. But yeah, you could argue. But I think that him struggling against the Sonics is just kind of like further proof of like, hey, maybe you're just not that good of an offensive weapon for us to lean on you. Doesn't mean that you can't be the best player on our team, but we may need to put a better offensive weapon around you to kind of aid you. And I think that's probably a bigger testament to why they were losing rather than Garnett being the sole reason, if that makes sense. Because then at that point, we're basically negating all the value that he's providing to the team defensively. And it's kind of hard for me to remove that just because he struggled offensively in a series.
So Lo, it sounds like you also take into account in your rankings, like how many pieces does this player need for a team to have high level success?
Yeah. And
Okay.
then the more elaborate of a team I think I may have to build around you, it may not be as impactful or more as it needs to be. If that makes sense.
Oh, that's
So
fair.
Lo, what's your top 10? Just so I can be sure.
Okay. Michael, LeBron, Kareem, which we might have to pack up Kareem soon. Duncan, Kobe, Hakeem, Shaq, but I'm interchangeable on those two. Magic, Curry, and Bill Russell.
Magic, Curry, Bill Russell, Hakeem, and Shaq.
Hey, Lo, can you find another player to say somebody does something better than? Please just find another player.
Thank you.
Just find another player, Lo.
What do you mean?
Just find another player. Every damn player.
It's always Kobe.
It's
Jokic,
Kobe.
Jokic is a better
Jokic
offensive
is a
player
better
than
offensive
who?
player than Kobe. Nash is a better offensive player than Kobe.
Kobe.
Bird
Larry
had
Bird
better
peak is better
seasons than
Kobe.
Kobe. Like, damn.
He's like the gatekeeper.
Let me get that jersey behind you.
Why is Kobe
What-
always the
what's wrong with
standard
the
of a
facts?
player does this better
What's wrong
than
with the facts?
Kobe?
Because I think people identify more with Kobe better than if I said Tim Duncan.
That's fair.
You want the
Okay.
reactions? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
No, people are just more.
That's
They
clickbait.
identify more.
Both
They
can
just
be
identify
correct.
more.
That's clickbait. That's
He
clickbait.
wants
Yo, Lo,
the
I
reactions.
have a kind of nasty question. Where's KD all time?
Somewhere between 15 and 20.
All right, never mind.
Damn, you were just
I'm about to say,
praising
what
his
can he do
longevity,
to,
man.
like-
Damn.
Nah.
No,
Man, he's not 27.
He has good longevity. He's not
Where's Chris
27.
Paul all
No,
time?
he's not 27. Jesus Christ.
Do you have
Yeah, that's for,
KD over KG?
No.
Nice.
Mm.
Why not?
That's interesting. That's
Because
interesting.
KG's
Lo.
KG's a
better.
better player.
Yeah,
What?
KG's better.
No, I give you that, but based on
How
your
good is
criteria,
KD's longevity?
I never mind. You said accolades don't matter because you had this whole conversation earlier, so I don't even.
Are you going to say that he's better because of championships?
Nah, not even that.
Finals MVPs, man.
We counted those championships he won?
Well, why?
Nah,
why,
because
why
I was just
even
thinking about-
if you look at accolades, why would he be better?
Nah,
Scoring
the,
titles.
The reason why, because
scoring titles are the accolades.
the stuff you're talking
Exactly.
about with like elaborate
Okay.
teams,
So
and
must
That's a
work.
fact.
because
It's a must work.
you're talking about how elaborate of a team do you
Yeah.
need to succeed. KD, one of the most elaborate teams to succeed. Look at all the other teams he had. Nothing.
He had nothing.
It's
Nothing in OKC
it's
is
easier
crazy.
to build around
Nothing in
KG.
Don't do
OKC.
us like that. Don't do about
Okay,
Oh, I
so
thought you meant
hold on,
nothing is in
nah,
those.
nah,
I thought you meant
bro,
nothing is
nah.
in no
Finals
titles.
appearance.
Yeah, I'm
He
thinking
had a
he's
hit.
saying
Oh,
like no team,
oh,
like
you
no
mean
success.
like- oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he was. Yeah,
Oh,
he wasn't
okay.
winning.
It's easier to build around KG.
But I have KG over him
Theoretically,
though.
yeah.
It is?
Wait,
Isn't
whoa,
KD more
whoa,
Definitely,
affordable
whoa.
than
I mean,
because
he
he's a
KG?
won.
defender. It's,
Whoa.
it's easier to build
He
around
had
somebody.
he had two great wing scores, a facilitating PG that can also guard. Like it took KG's winning team. What are you talking about?
That was at the
I know,
Wait,
I know,
wings?
but I don't
his
think
peak, though.
KG. I don't think
I mean,
KG.
I
did
don't
all
think
those
that's the
things.
bare minimum KG needed
Yeah,
to win.
I don't think
think
KG.
that's what
I-
he needed to have an all-time great team.
And especially at the end of his prime.
I think if
Wait,
you
but
put
you can
KG
you
on
can
the
make the same
roster,
thing.
I mean, but
You
I
make-
don't.
you
Yeah,
can
I don't
say the same
think.
about KD.
I don't think KD necessarily needs Steph.
I don't think.
Oh, yeah, I
KD
don't think you
needed
needed
a
KD
Golden
Steph,
State
yeah, no,
team to be
I don't
able
think
to
that,
win.
no,
I
I don't think
definitely
that.
don't think that.
No,
I'm not saying he
Like,
needs
honestly,
the
y'all-
best spacing of all time in order to win. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
no.
that.
Yeah, y'all had conversations in regards like if y'all replace Steve Nash with Westbrook, would that be help a better chance to win? And majority
It would.
of panel
It
at the
would.
time, they
I
say
still
yeah.
think they lose to.
Oh, you talking about KD? I
Miami.
thought you
I
meant
don't
like
know.
I'm talking about
Suns.
KD. I'm talking about KD.
Okay. I was like,
Now the Timberwolves needed everything. They needed everything.
They need.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if KG just had a competent like ball handler and shot creator in like between 02 to 08, I think the way that team was currently constructed, I think they could have snuck at least a bare minimum finals appearance.
Yeah, just a dependable scoring wing.
If they didn't try to cheat and get Joe Smith on that deal,
Man,
maybe they could have drafted somebody.
04 for him to make it that deep, and basically got that deep with like Sam Cassell, and then he got hurt. I think that is like very, very much
Pause.
evidence.
Sentence.
Pause.
Yeah. Okay. So who peaks higher for you, KG or Giannis? Because essentially,
KG.
then it would be like
We had this
he
conversation.
would need what Chris Middleton type shot creation level.
If KG was on that team, ooh,
I mean, they would win, but like Giannis won too. So I mean,
I'm like, they both won. I don't really.
Yeah,
see.
I think both of them would be fine on that team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chris Middleton is like the minimum like quality of shot creator you're talking about.
I think
Perennial
both of
all-star.
them. You're like a all-star to fringe All NBA caliber shot creator. I think they're fine.
If you put KG on the Bucks
Michael Mars.
this year, or the
No,
previous-
I have a genuine question I've been trying to.
It'd be
answer, but I
crazy.
don't get to KG.
Oh, okay, go ahead, go, Mark. Go ahead, go.
When you're talking about longevity and stuff, especially in the postseason, do you factor in like postseason injuries in terms of like that doesn't count as like a full postseason? For example, Steph in 2016 being hurt, Steph in 2018 missing the first round, Steph in 2019 having a hand injury going into the playoffs and then not playing very well for the first two round and a half. Like, does that factor in, or is what it is?
I think that's more like more leaning towards a neutral, if anything. So I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to like penalize you nor judge you off it. But this also doesn't aid you in the process because it doesn't give you the year that you would probably need to have to make the argument for like, I provided another year of high level play. If that makes sense. But I'm not penalizing for you.
Yeah, so
like it's like it'd be better.
How many years would you say Steph has in the playoffs that are like full postseason runs, high level value? How many would you say he has?
I want to say last much. I think it's like 8.
Does that apply for everybody?
So you consider what years would you consider full?
For me personally,
yeah, that's what I want. Yeah,
I started back earlier than I think most people probably will because I think some of y'all be sleeping on earlier Curry. I mean,
2014 only played 7 games.
Was nice, but I'm not
2014 was a one season sample size.
Yeah,
2013
series. I think 2013 it starts in 2013.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So are you giving him 13 and 14, or are you giving him 13?
You give him 13
and 14. Yes, 13. He went in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm getting 13. My bad.
Yeah, so that goes back to my point. So one series for you, if they play well, is still another postseason of high level value.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be better. It'd be better if you just got like you perform high. Let me be clear. It may also kind of slightly depend on the team that you perform against. So performing at that level, which I think was an adequate level against that Clippers team, especially like on who you were probably going to go up against next, which I think was
Thunder.
Yeah.
Or if you went up against a Houston, like I think that's a good enough team for me to get a gauge of who you were as a ball player that postseason run, especially in the season prior where you also provided evidence, and then obviously the following season where you are also providing more evidence as well. that you can clearly play at the level. It's not as if like this is a one-off.
So
Now, if this is
would
like
you-
one time, then it's kind of then we may have a different conversation.
What do we consider high level value in the postseason? Like, what is the?
I think it depends on. So this all kind of depends on what you
Matchup,
bring,
huh?
what you provide. No, what you provide and how we're gauging you. So for Curry in particular, volume score, efficiency, playmaking, passing, off ball threat. Like I'm not going to necessarily gauge Curry off his defense because that's not something he was asked for, nor is that like where his value lies in. So for Curry, if his value really lies in like his scoring efficiency, playmaking, passing, more offensive leaning. So from a scoring perspective, a volume score, which at that time was probably 23 plus points, right? He provided that to you. Level relative efficiency, he provided that at a high level as well. Level of passing and playmaking, he's also providing that as well. So like he's checking off all the boxes. The problem with Bird, so I guess if you're then pivoting to Bird's value in those years that I think you all know what I'm referring to is also scoring. Now you could argue that
one of his values,
yeah, one of his. Now you could argue, but I don't think his playmaking is where it was supposed to be either because they got away with like only putting one defender on him. Like he wasn't like bringing in as much defensive attention as people may have thought he was, right? Now you could argue that maybe he picked up some of that value based off of the rebounding aspect. Sure. I don't think he did. I don't think he made up the value with the rebounding, and I certainly don't believe he made up the value with his defense either. I just don't.
So how do you feel about?
I mean, I know like against, for example, the 82 conference finals against the Sixers, he was averaging like 3 offensive rebounds a game. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's elite. That's
great. It ain't gonna last insane.
That's pretty good.
I
value.
don't think it's
elite.
80. I don't think 82 is the one. I think 83 and 84 is the one I more so question. I don't think it's 82. I could be wrong.
It might. I don't know because I've seen like a lot of Bird postseasons, especially prior to Dennis Johnson. Because I'm not as low on him as you because I think I'm higher on Bird's value outside of his scoring. So even when his scoring wasn't like translate, I don't need to do that. When his scoring wasn't translating, I still found immense value in his off-ball play, in his passing, in his rebounding, which really did take a step up when he didn't really have it going.
Okay,
So
80. Go. I'm sorry. Go.
So for me, when I'm viewing that, and that's in the conference finals, and then we compare that to Steph losing in round 1, I would still consider that a high-level postseason for Bird, based off sample size, competition. He has so him playing 2 more series on top of the conference finals versus Steph having 7.
It's one more series.
Steph in 2014 played 1 series.
No.
Played 3.
No. Dude. Back then, if you got a top seed, they only play. I'm looking at it right now. They only played the Bullets and the Sixers. There's only 1 more series.
Okay, my apologies.
Yeah.
So Larry Bird having a larger sample size, and then in my opinion, still playing well against a team like the Sixers, who were elite level competition, providing value in all those other ways, would still be deemed as a high level postseason to me. So that would like Larry Bird would still have more high level postseasons than Steph.
I don't think it is because again I don't think the rebounding makes up for that much of a dip in scoring production. I just don't think it does. And efficiency. It'd be one thing if he was still efficient as a scorer, but he wasn't even efficient. Like the production and efficiency dropped. I don't think grabbing what rebound, 1 more rebound versus the regular offensive rebound versus the regular season postseason. I don't think that makes up. I don't think it makes up for like the 5 to 6 point.
So what postseasons do you consider high level value from Bird?
Obviously from 84 to I think it's 88, and then we have to then if depends on how you feel about his first 2. I would say his first 2 were also high value as well.
Wait,
so he'd have 7.
Yeah, 7.
And then Steph would have 13, 14, 15. Does he have 16?
I don't consider 16 though.
7. So 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23. Right?
How many
is that we doing? That's 8. And most people would think 14 is questionable. And I don't think 13 is questionable. I think
13 to me is not questionable.
Yeah, I think 13 is high level value. But I think if you're giving Steph 13 and 14, I think Larry Bird deserves 82, in my opinion. Which is where I guess where
Impact is impact.
which is where I
Bro,
guess the
one
disconnect comes
round
from.
though, man. Come on.
Yeah,
Wait,
I don't know.
so
Go ahead, Keem. Yeah.
so would you value Jimmy Butler if he got out in the first round with the stats that he averaged, then all of the production drop, then that him making it to the finals? Because you're saying Curry, he had that one series, but it was really good, but that's good. But Larry Bird, he went to the conference finals, but his stats were lower, so it's like so like
The-
would
the
you
prob-
value
the-
Jimmy Butler more if he ended it right there with the Bucks?
No, the problem is that what he did to the Bucks is like such an anomaly that I would I would question it. Like I don't know if that's like a real accurate depiction of who Jimmy Butler is as a player. Well, I know it's not. So like I wouldn't like if that's just an outlier series, and sure. But Curry the year before and the next season also provided that same level of value. So it's kind of hard for me to like not utilize that as a season to where it gives me an accurate depiction of who Curry was throughout that entire stretch.
So because of what he did in the future, the 2014 one is then valid because of what he did in the future.
Even the year before that, I mean, what I realized is that it wouldn't enough. What he's referring to, and fair enough, that's like an outlier of all outlier. But what Jimmy Butler did against the Bucks is such a like outlier that I cannot like. There's no way that I'm going to sit here and believe that's an accurate depiction of who he was.
Is it that much of an outlier? What do you like? Remember in the bubble? Granted, it's the bubble. He was doing some crazy.
You went crazy.
In that
It's not the same type of
He did some
impact,
crazy
but
stuff. If you do an
No,
outlier
I don't-
stuff
I don't-
multiple times,
I don't think.
how much
I
of
don't
an
think.
outlier is it?
Other than,
think he got
other than the
no.
finals in the bubble, Jimmy Butler wasn't going as
Yeah,
crazy.
35 a game is crazy.
Yeah, I
And
don't
then
think you
what
understand
about-
what he was
What
doing.
about
in
last
the
year when they lost to Boston? He had a whole bunch of games like that as well.
No,
Yeah,
the whole,
Jimmy
you said
Butler's
the
good
whole.
to
He had
have
2 or 3. He had
How
2 or
many
3.
times can an outlier happen?
Jimmy
before
Butler
you're like,
might
that's just
have
what he does?
a series every postseason run where he plays great. Outside of that, it's
Yeah,
fine.
so but he's saying I can't take that as for real because it's an outlier. But then he does it in a series every single year.
Jimmy
Like
Butler.
how much of an
one
outlier
series
is it
out,
really?
one series out of 3 every year is
20 in this first round series, he averaged I think the third most points in a series in the past 23 years. While doing so, he had a true shooting of nearly 70%, I think like 68. Then while also doing that, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and then while also doing that, providing like very clear positive defensively.
And what happened after
that
that?
is Jimmy
sprained his
Butler.
ankle. What'd you
I know,
say
but
about if injuries happen?
I don't think Jimmy Butler. I don't think even he sprained his ankle. That's just not an accurate depiction of who Jimmy Butler is as a player. It's just not.
Question, Lo.
Yeah.
Why are we about to pack Kareem up?
Oh yeah, that's
Mars.
crazy.
that's a
crazy.
silly question. That's
Oh,
a
does he
That's
know?
crazy.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Have you seen the 70s?
Oh, because so weak era. So why is Bill Russell in there? Like, what are we talking about?
He moved
He
from
dropped
4
Russell.
to
I
10.
moved him down to 10. Yeah,
He moved to 10.
He went from like 6
Bill
to 10.
Bill Russell was in his top 5.
he was my
Oh, he was?
5th. Yeah, and he moved down to 10.
Yeah, so Bill Russell's been packed.
But I'm
up.
saying, where you planning on dropping
where you
Kareem to?
packing Kareem up to?
Kareem just needs to be behind Duncan and Kobe, and then I'm cool.
Nah.
Yeah, because
I don't see that.
Kareem still might be a top 10 player. I mean, a top 5 player. Just
Just put him behind Duncan and Kobe, man. Just have him in the tier with Hakeem, Shaq.
So you're gonna have Duncan. You're gonna have Duncan top 3.
Yeah, he's gonna have Duncan third all time.
Oh,
Hey.
hold on.
Low is the Duncan Glazer. That's what he is.
Wait, and you're gonna have Kobe. You're gonna have Kobe. Kobe's gonna be on your Mount Rushmore.
that's fine.
Hey.
I don't know why you think I hate Kobe. I don't know why you think I hate him.
No, it's like
You definitely hate Kobe.
Everybody has a
You
better
hate Kobe.
offense than Kobe. So.
I mean he has him 5th. Like I mean you can't.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, but
Oh, am I right again? I'm right again.
about?
Perfect. Everything. All right.
No, nigga.
No, nigga.
Bro said nah.
No.
This guy.
I don't like Lowe said. I mean, having someone at 11 doesn't really bother me. Like I have Steph at like 1 spot behind Bird, so like it's like, cool. Like Steph's gonna have.
can't see
Steph's
over
gonna play
Bird.
next season if he's
I don't
healthy.
get it.
He's gonna pass Bird. So like it doesn't really make much.
Yeah,
of a
that's what I'm
difference
saying.
to
Like
me.
Steph is about to have another All NBA caliber season, so I don't know what to tell y'all. Like I don't. It's kind of
You gotta
cooked.
wait till
Yeah,
next year.
I'm just
No,
not putting him
no,
above
no.
Bird until he does it. Yeah, so
Fair
that's what
enough,
I'm-
fair enough. But even right now, I think at bare minimum, they're relatively similar.
Ooh, echo.
Like the
They
So
are.
what you're
list.
basically saying
I'm
is
just lower on the first couple of postseason runs compared to you, I guess. Mainly
so
because
Mars,
one
what you're
one
saying
series
for
sample size. I mean,
for
I mean,
Word
and it was a different system, so
is Word there?
Word.
what up, Word?
What
Hello,
up,
Word.
Word?
Whose word?
Word.
Word.
Word got a word about Giannis apparently. So
Facts.
Well, what's
go
up?
ahead.
What's up?
Why does everyone here overrate Giannis Antetokounmpo? He's not even
Oh
close to
shit!
being
What?
the best player in the world.
Overrate.
Wait, let me say it again. What'd you say?
Wait, hold on. Let me fix my mic. Give me a second.
No, you good. You good. We can hear
Oh,
you.
okay.
People just talking. Go
Yeah.
ahead, bro.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is overrated
Why?
because
Well, first, where does he have him rated?
when people say best player in the world strictly off the 2021 run, kind of pisses me off. Still, I'm not gonna lie.
How
He's
many
like the
people do
first
you?
seed every year with playing amazing.
You low for sure. You be doing these weird power rankings that this.
He was great 2022.
Where do you think I have him ranked right now?
Last time I heard, you said it's like interchangeable. You do like the cop out answer. You say like Curry, Jokic, Giannis. They're all interchangeable. Not really
He's
getting
onto
a
you.
define.
Not like I do the
I-
same thing at all, but he's onto
I was
you.
about to
No,
say,
you
yeah.
too, Mars. But yeah,
Oh yeah, I still think it's 1A 1B, and you can call that a cop. I don't care. I still think it's 1A.
Alright,
No, I'm only saying that because I
Mhm.
remember the discourse about Giannis Antetokounmpo during the back-to-back MVP run, how he struggled in the half court, how he looks pedestrian in the fourth. I don't know about butt tax, to be honest, and people harp about his defense.
It's
What do you mean you don't know
definitely
about
a
bud
bud
tax? What do you mean you don't know about bud tax?
I'm
think the
okay.
Bud
I'm
hate is
saying
little
if you're that great and you're the best player in the world, you should influence
Nah.
what's going on.
No,
You
that's
can't-
every
you
that's
can't
every
play.
do that coach
No,
that's
no,
anybody else.
that's literally every top. I mean, that's majority of players in the league where they would hyperly benefit from whatever system or coach they are playing alongside.
Well,
with.
I'm not talking about every player. I'm talking about the top of the top, like LeBron.
That's
for
the top.
example.
That's
He
the
goes
top of the
Cleveland.
top. That's the
No,
top
the
of the top.
system is built around the player. To be honest.
That is
Yeah, but
true
if
for
the
LeBron.
coach
You're just
isn't
talking semantics, to be honest.
if the coach hasn't built the proper system around the player, then what are we talking about then?
So you're not blaming Antetokounmpo for his half court struggles. You're just giving 100%.
I think we all harped on the fact that Giannis struggles in the half court, and that is why Bud misuses him because he's not playing. He's playing into his weaknesses. That's what.
Or maybe he's playing.
Oh, Giannis is not really good at post ups anyway.
Or maybe he's playing.
Nah, that's not. He got better. Don't do that. He got
What?
Better, but that's not.
No.
Word. What did you say?
No, I'm saying he's playing to his strengths. What are you guys talking about? What do you
He's
want?
playing into his strengths offensively.
He's giving the ball at the top of the key and telling him to run.
That's it. Is that how Giannis is the most effective?
No.
Driving to the lane.
He's actually way more effective as a rim runner, pick and roll.
Full court, yeah.
Giannis is not most effective in the half court.
He's
trying to get to the rim from the 3-point line at the top of the key or the wing. That's definitely not how he's most effective.
So you want him to be a strictly pick and roller?
I never said strictly. He's more effective as a pick and roll player.
So how
just because it works doesn't mean
he's
it's
more
most
effective in the dunker spot. He's more effective in the post. He's more effective at the elbows. The top of the key and the wing is like his least effective spots.
Okay, I'm asking you, do you think he gets the same gravity from those spots to him driving in from the wing? Be honest now.
Yes. Even if it's not more, even if it's not more, it's definitely close enough to where the level of gravity and attention that he receives.
How would you determine that if they barely run that? That's what.
Because when they do run it,
it's effective.
It's very.
Is he a good enough playmaker to be there all the time though?
I think he is.
He's not.
Giannis is a good
Giannis is a great playmaker.
A good enough playmaker.
No,
yeah. To be aware.
When he's rim running, he's a good enough playmaker. But I'm talking about his back to the basket.
Oh no, I do. I think he needs more reps, but the issue is they don't give him reps.
I still think he's actually. Is he a good enough?
I think he sees the floor well. Like he's not Embiid. I think he sees the floor well with his back to the basket.
I'd say
do I think he's perfect?
Way better than Embiid.
Do I think he's Jokic? No, but I think with more reps and
his question was, is he good enough? He is definitely good enough.
Oh yeah, he's good enough. Giannis post ups, but
I don't know. Giannis don't got that touch.
Crazy.
He don't have the touch. He has like Scotty Barnes touch.
Word, where's Giannis for you?
Where do you rank Giannis?
Wait, I had a list. Give me a second.
Oh,
If
my
Giannis
Yeah,
gets
where-
2 feet in the paint, he's
Yeah, that
collapsing.
actually,
Like,
that's a much better question. Where do you have Giannis?
I know. I went to actually like 5 minutes.
Yeah, my
Alright,
bad.
give me a
That's actually
second.
really
Real Talk knows how to make content. Good work.
All time?
No, right
No,
now.
Right now.
Where the heck?
And then give us the players you have over him.
Yeah. There's about to be some Jokic glazing.
Who we asking?
It's about.
I
It's
mean,
about.
everyone knows
It's
about
about.
the
It's
game,
about.
Jokic is fine.
It's about.
No LeBron.
All right, go ahead. Word, go ahead. Give us your top.
This is my list
your
based
top
on
10.
100% health. All right. Meaning hypothetically.
He's about to have Kawhi over Giannis.
Kawhi's in here. Kawhi's in here.
As he should.
Yeah, that's when he said that. You just know he was about to have Kawhi over Giannis.
Go ahead,
Absolutely.
Word. Go ahead, go Word.
I got
And
Jokic
LeBron
number
high.
1. I had him for the last 3 years. No bullshit. I had Curry number 2.
What's this?
I have Kawhi number 3.
Oh my
I have
god.
Luka
Damn.
number 4. I have Giannis Antetokounmpo
Luka.
5.
Oh
Wait,
my
who did he have number 2? Yeah, Jokic 1 and who 2?
Curry.
Curry.
Steph.
Curry.
So Jokic, Steph,
That's not
Kawhi.
a bad.
Luka.
It's
I'm
basically
not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
So-
not that mad at that.
I'm not-
Luka-
yeah,
that's not a bad list.
No,
That
the
overrated.
I'm very.
No,
I
I'm
have-
not. Let's
I
Luka is
have
not
all,
top 10.
wait, I know what Lowe's about to do. He's about to break down the list, but I'm gonna answer your question for you. I have all these people ahead of Giannis Antetokounmpo because the way they bend the defense is gonna result into championship level basketball.
Kawhi's
Kawhi-
not bending the defense if he's not on the court.
Yeah,
What are you
I
talking
said
about?
health,
He said
I
it's human health. He
Okay,
said
not
it's
yet.
human
No,
health.
no,
Luka's
that's
style
not.
of play, I don't know.
But they're all better.
Luka-
They're all better
if
offensive
you-
players than Giannis.
Yeah, they're all better
Yes.
offensive players. I don't think.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah, they're all
offensively.
better
I think.
Yeah,
I think
if
If
you
you're talking about
disagree.
championship, that's different
Yeah,
than
yeah,
Yeah,
but
Luka
if you want to
is
talk,
value
if you want to talk
on
about
the other
champion, yeah, but if you want to talk about
Luka.
championship, I would definitely believe that Luka would have to play slightly better defense. If we talk
Yeah.
about
That's
yeah,
team-
but it's,
that's all
it's a
team
team
oriented.
sport, bro. Like you have to.
I'm
be-
not- I'm also-
So
I'm
why
also
can't
not-
other people score? So why can't other people? This is what we never like. It's always
Alright,
okay
so
for
Real
offensive
Talk
players to
plays
not be
something
good,
real
bro.
right now.
It-
Real
no,
Talk
no,
plays
because
some real
everyone
facts.
has Magic in their top 5 or top 7, but they don't talk about the defense. It's
I don't think-
okay
I don't
to
think-
be
I don't-
No,
bad.
I do not. No, I do not.
Well, as you
No, not
Majority
you.
of
Okay,
people
all right,
do
fine,
that.
fine. But also,
Yeah,
also,
but
I
accolade
think,
matches.
I think that Luka is a worse defender, especially at this stage of his career than Magic was.
Worse
think
off
he's
ball,
like-
worse
Better offensive
defender.
player
He's like a
than
very
Luka.
clear
playmaker.
negative. I think he's a very clear negative, like very, very much so. And I think that I don't think I think at bare minimum you have to be roaming around neutral territory as a defender to be.
So I'm only saying that. Sorry to cut you off, Lo. Luka for me is obviously better because if I'm building a team and the objective is to win, I don't want someone who's gonna handicap my offense the way Antetokounmpo does. And
But-
he doesn't even wait, hold on, let me finish.
Uh-huh.
People talk about his defense. I've seen him run away from matchups and blame it on Bud way too many times for my liking.
Does he handicap the defense though?
You was
But-
doing
Didn't Jimmy
so
Butler-
well.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you
Yeah,
was doing
this is a bad argument.
Yeah,
This is a bad
I'm about to say,
argument.
Terrible.
Hey, word. You know why? You know why? Word. No, word. Listen.
All right, that's why
Listen,
Luka
no,
goes ahead and
listen. Let me tell you. Let me tell you why it's a bad argument, especially with Luka, right? So we tend to always see the value in great offensive players that can't play defense, but we don't see great value. No, listen, just listen.
Give proper context.
Just listen.
He's not even arguing with you. He's just trying to give the
Exactly.
point of buzz
So
with
just
his
listen.
argument.
So, in fact, the player that Luka got in the middle of the season, who he missed the playoffs with because their weaknesses were very similar. If Kyrie signs to the Bucks, that's exactly what Giannis needs. That's the player Giannis needs.
That's a bad.
How is that a bad argument?
I'm arguing players.
That would still be championship level basketball. No, that would be championship level basketball.
Yeah.
I got a
have a
question
question.
for Word.
Yeah, that don't make no sense.
Would you have
It
Luka
makes
have
plenty of
all-
sense.
all
His
time on
point
your team,
makes
though?
perfect sense. When we have great offensive players who aren't good on defense, it's very easy for anyone to say we can just supplement that with role players who can play defense and it'll be fine. We can win. But when we have a great defensive player who has holes in offense,
Great.
why is no one willing? Why is
Great.
no one willing? Yes,
You
a great
don't
defensive.
think Giannis is a
Yes,
great defender?
because there's a thing where 4 people don't have the ball. So Giannis not
Uh-huh.
guarding on the
Yeah.
ball does not change the fact that he's still a
I
great
know, but
defensive
there's a
player.
lot of players in
So
that league that
Giannis
do
not
that.
guarding Kevin
There's a
Durant
lot
or
of league
not
that-
guarding Jimmy Butler
Oh,
does
okay.
not change the fact that he's one of the most impactful defenders in the league.
No,
Fact.
where,
But the point is, Jimmy is 21.
The point is,
Let me ask
I
you a
was
question.
no, because you
Alright,
asked
my
the
bad,
question
my bad.
as I was
Yeah,
still
you're
making my
right.
point.
You're right.
The point
Continue.
is, when we have a great defensive player who has holes on offense, it would be very to be consistent. We should say we can just find someone who can supplement his offensive flaws.
Exactly.
For Giannis, it would be perimeter shot creation. For someone else, it might just be 3-point shooting. For like, so when these players have flaws, why is it when an offensive player has defensive flaws, we just say supplement that with role players? But when there's a guy who has flaws offensively, we can't just say supplement that with someone who helps their flaws. Like, it's the same.
Talk to him.
That's not what I'm arguing.
We have to
That's a
supplement
great
Luka's
point.
defense with
That's a
4
great
guys.
point.
We supplement Giannis's offense with 1. Like, which one?
Wait,
Exactly.
That's a good point.
One, you're being disingenuous to team building. You still need two-way players around Giannis.
The tag team
Yeah,
chills.
Okay, but
Oh
team
my
building
god.
with Luka, what is he gonna do without the ball
What are you
on
guys
defense?
talking
Period.
about?
Giannis the only two-way player on that team except for Holiday.
Is this because
What
Drew
can
Holiday's on
Giannis
his
do
team?
without the ball? Is that what you said?
That's
In
the
a
craziest
half court,
question
does
ever.
he get utilized
He can't cut
properly?
to the
I'm
rim?
saying, I'm
Like,
using
he
my-
can't-
There's a
Wait,
reason
wait,
why
wait,
he's
wait,
not
what are you
being
talking about?
utilized.
He can't be a lob threat.
let
I'm
me
about to
ask you-
say,
let
who
me
do you
ask
think?
you- let
Who
me
do you
ask
think
you
is
a
a
question.
better? Who do you think would be, especially if they were properly optimized? You
Uh-huh.
think Luka will be a better off-ball player than Giannis?
Yes.
Oh my!
No.
Nah, get him
He's
out.
Luka
no
is
more.
Giannis on a wing.
He's a hater.
Giannis as a pick and roll threat. As a
Giannis doesn't
We gotta
got
see.
I
We
saw him
got
move
Luka
off ball
talk.
for
We
one
got
game
it.
in Charlotte.
He's a hater. He's a hater. He's a
I'm
hater.
not.
He's a
I'm
hater.
not.
He's a hater.
I'm not.
You don't care about being a lob threat. You don't care about cutting back door. Like, what are we doing?
There's other stuff you can do off
Bro
the ball
would dare
besides
be one of
lob.
live
the
on TV.
greatest
Well,
lob
answer this.
threats.
What does Luka do off the ball?
What
What does
are
Luka do
the
off the
things
ball?
that Luka is going to
He
do off
said,
ball that would maximize him as a?
He's a great catch and shoot. He's a great.
He
He's a
doesn't.
what?
We
Is
what?
he?
He's a what?
Shoot.
a what?
Catch and shoot.
not.
Check
So
the
Luka
numbers.
can't
buddy.
shoot.
I don't know
Luka-
about that.
That's what you guys
From
are trying
three,
to throw
he's
right now.
not.
Luka does not catch and
No,
shoot.
no,
Man,
he's
stop
not.
the
No,
bullshit.
he
Pull
doesn't
up the
do
numbers,
it.
bro. Pull
He's
up
a
the
great
No,
catch
numbers.
and
Luka
shoot
actually
based on
shoots
what?
worse
He's a
on
great catch
open
and shoot
shots
based
than
on what?
contested,
He's a great
right?
catch and
I'm about to
shoot. He's a
say
great catch and
based
shoot
on
based
I'm
on
gonna
what?
say based on what? Yeah, let me because what are you saying? He's a great catch and shoot.
He does not do that.
Common sense.
What?
If he's shooting 35%, I think what does he shoot around?
Did you know
for
Luka
threes?
shoots worse on
Are
open
you?
I
shots
know.
than
I just
contested?
want to. Are you gonna say if he shoots 35% on
On
step backs
difficult-
and
yeah,
contested
it's
threes, what would he
logic.
shoot on
It's
open ones? Is that what you're gonna
It's,
say?
it's not. I'm not gonna watch Luka do catch and shoot and be like, now he's such a great shooter. No, he takes difficult shots.
We haven't seen
He
it
literally
enough to
shoots
even.
worse
Well,
on
wait,
open
wait. I
shots.
want to ask you. What do you think he shoots on catch and shoot? What is he in real life, not hypotheticals in real life?
He barely gets optimized like that. So
I'll ask you the question again. What do you think?
He's
he
proving
shoots
us right.
on?
That's because when he catches
you have
the ball, he
to,
doesn't love taking a step back.
you have to, you're being disingenuous. You're paying.
No,
I'll
you're
ask,
proving it right.
I'll ask the question again. What do you think in real life he shoots?
Just answer my. Who's a better offensive player, Luka or Giannis?
Stop dunking the question.
Everyone said Luka.
Everybody
Everyone
said
said
Luka.
Luka. Everyone
But
said
right
Luka.
now, you
Luka.
believe that Luka can be better, is a better off-ball player if they're optimizing accordingly. And you brought up catch and
Based
shoot.
off his offensive
So what do
skill,
you
yeah.
what do you think? But even as a 3-point shooter, it's not like Luka is like leads and bounds so
What's
much
the
better as
volume?
a
What's the volume?
It's probably one per game at most.
Okay, so
Luka this game took 1.1 catch and shoot.
and shot 35% on them.
Wow.
35%.
But
On
but
1
word,
3.
word,
Wow.
word.
Yeah,
But
it's low
word.
volume. He's not a good
Word.
offense.
Hold on,
I want to
because
but he's not
He
a
can't
good
do it.
he's not a good 3-point shooter. Period. He's not a good enough 3-point shooter. Period. To make
But-
Now you're lying.
Yeah.
nah, but word.
No.
I'm not even about to talk about. I'm not even about to. I'm not even about to.
Let's get this
I wanna
Luka
be
train out the way.
stop. For Luka to match whatever Giannis is going to get off ball, regardless if it's as a roller to the basket, cutting to the
Exactly.
basket, moving, regardless of what that is
All you
it's
said
going
is
to
rolling to the
pertain.
basket, to be
It's
honest.
gonna, or even in a dunker spot, it's going to pertain to him.
So he's Clint Capella.
It's
Okay.
going to
That's
pertain.
off-ball value. How is
See, you're being
I don't know
disingenuous.
what to
Talk
tell
about.
value?
I don't know what to
That's
tell you.
amazing. That's
If
amazing.
Giannis gets 3 or 4 of
Yeah,
those
exactly.
looks routinely and they're all at the basket, Bro, Luka would have to be converting his 3-point shots at like
I
40 to 45% to
I
keep up
never
with that.
said just threes though.
Word, I have a question.
Okay. So what else? What else do you think? You said catch and
catch and
shoot.
shoot 16 footers. Catch and shoot 16
No,
footers.
mid-range is free. He can break
How
down the
many-
defense.
Off ball mid-range
Oh
shooting?
He's coming off curls for an 18-footer.
Yeah.
Are we
No,
on three? Did this nigga call Luka Rip Hamilton?
No, I never
Yes.
said that.
Word.
He can catch it in the elbow and post up and do fadeaways. He's really good at that. Well,
But he's
why
not
you acting
off ball, no.
Don't
That's
stop
on
without
ball.
the
He does that
ball.
on
What?
ball.
Wait, stop. Even if he did that, that still doesn't make up for Giannis finishing at the basket 60 to 70% of the time. It still doesn't make up for that.
Okay, but you have to be honest too. When Giannis does get these opportunities, does he not shy away from the free throw line?
What
Man,
is
that
that?
was
No,
one game.
No,
and that's fine. But even if, because let's say Giannis shot with like 50 or 60%, Luka's still not a good enough free throw shooter to catch up to that either.
Wait, you got 70.
We're talking, but you said off ball, not
You can't
on
pass
ball.
off the ball, bro. Like
Off ball.
See, that's the thing. No one here is arguing that Giannis is a better offensive player than Luka. No one here is making that argument.
You said off ball.
You said
Off ball, bro.
Off ball.
And
No,
off ball
that's
may
just
be
my opinion.
off ball may be very well the only thing Giannis does better offensively than Luka. But
And it's
you
very, actually very important too. That's why Luka. That's why Luka team up.
Yeah, finisher. Yeah.
And transition.
We're arguing.
Correct.
Barely do it though.
What?
Say it
We're
again.
arguing
What?
about two people who barely run off-ball actions. It's like
But
I don't
okay,
get.
so
the
they-
But Luka has never shown it.
Okay, but going
Giannis
back-
is
like-
off ball in transition all the time.
No, Giannis isn't used off ball enough. Compared to Luka, he's an off ball player. I'm gonna be honest.
That is also
But
Yeah,
it's still, okay,
that's also
Compared to
true.
Luka, he's
But
regular.
let's bring it back
that's
to
semantics.
where he initially brought it from, which is adding Kyrie. And I think you don't understand this either. Again, when it comes to I agree with you when it comes to Giannis. There are very clear holes in this game that can handicap the offense. But for whatever reason,
your whole championship
Luka-
run.
okay,
Be honest.
but okay, fine. Luka also has flaws in his game that can handicap what you're trying to do in terms of winning, not only defensively, but acknowledging the lack of impact that he can have offensively as well when he's off ball will also handicap you, because that then means that even if I add someone the talent of Kyrie Irving, I'm not going to be able to get him maximized anyway because he doesn't move off ball. So it still provides the evidence that as great as he is offensively, because he lacks off ball offensively, that I could add someone like Kyrie and I still don't get the value that I need.
No, you don't have a defense around him. But
He
that's,
doesn't even attack
semantics.
closeouts.
This is
That's
Really, all right, have a good one.
Yeah, we're going in circles. We're going in circles.
He started off okay, and then he just
Yeah, he did. And also to that point about the pick, bro. So Luka would have to be shooting so many attempts off ball from three to make up for the value of a Giannis pick and roll. If he has a ball handler, because Giannis is going to be automatically a great lob threat. So if you run him in a pick and roll and he's a lob threat, that bottom man in the corner does need to pre-rotate. And if you have a good enough ball handler that can penetrate and hit that shooter in the corner, that's I can spam that action and get a good look. This is simple stuff when you have a good little duo that causes so much. That's why I like the dribble handoff. Like Denver can spam that shit, and it's going to work because it just creates so many advantages. So Dwight Howard used to man an offense as a roll man.
That's it. He used to man a whole offense. Just
That used to be, he used to man an offense as a roll man.
And
he brought that much attention as a lob threat.
Which is why I hated Martin. Aaron, you can go after this. I hated when Mars sat there and be like, "Oh, Rudy Gobert playmaking as the roll man or setting screens." Like he knows for a fact that yes, that is very much so possible to where you can be a more than quality playmaker as a pick and roll option as a roll man, because Dwight Howard did that for basically like 4 or 5 years straight. And I hated when Martin like, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" Like he knows exactly what I meant by that.
Screen assists.
Nasty.
Shout out Steven Adams in OKC.
Aaron, go ahead, go.
And Mars, I had a question for Mars. I never got a chance to ask him.
This ain't even my
There's an
show.
echo. No, I want everyone to answer it, but like, wait, give me one.
What? What
Sorry,
the hell
sorry,
is that?
sorry.
I think his
um,
parents came.
So Mars, on one of your shows, like you were ranking, like you ranked peaks, and I think everyone here probably agrees Shaq is top 3-4 peak, right? I mean, if you guys
Mhm.
say no,
Mm-hmm.
and
Free-
you
okay,
probably would say Jokic, Nash, Jokic. Let's focus Jokic. Is probably like around 15, 13. I think that's what I remember from your
I had him 14.
14. So my question was, if you think Jokic was better offensively at his peak, why is the gap so monumental between Shaq and Jokic?
Well, Shaq at his peak was an elite defender, so that would be like the most basic thing. But also the gap in like the spots isn't as important because like when I did it, I had everyone in tiers. So like Jokic at 14, but he was in the same tier as Giannis, KD, D Wade, Steve Nash, etc., David Robinson. So he was in that tier with like a bunch of guys. So he could have been like a few spots higher, and then it would have made the gap look closer. But the biggest issue with Jokic for me is the fact that I still haven't bought into the defense. I still think he's probably a slight positive, maybe neutral to slight positive. Shaq was an elite defender at his peak. Great rim protector, great rim deterrence, excellent rebounder. And he didn't have to really be relied on to step out on the perimeter and defense. And when he did, wasn't very good. He just didn't have to do as much as a guy like Jokic did. So that's why it doesn't look as detrimental against him compared to Jokic. But I don't think Jokic will ever catch Shaq in terms of peak. Just putting out there. I don't think he'll ever be that high. But I do think if you take out the 21 season and you just do 22, 23, and then whatever he does in 24, Jokic might climb up on the peak ranking, might push towards the top 10 range, maybe. I don't know.
So the same logic for Curry, Nash, because Shaq's defense is just gapping their defense.
With Steph, it's closer because I think Steph's at his peak might be the best offensive weapon we've ever seen. So he's closer. Steve Nash, yes, his defense is just, of everyone I rank very highly, he's by far the worst defender. Like, it's not even close. He's just a clear negative. Everyone else, you can make an argument for neutral. With the right system around them, you might be able to hide. He's just bad. Like, Steve Nash is just bad. So that's why he's much further down the list. But with Steph, I haven't entertained him over Shaq, but I have Steph at like 6 and Shaq was 3. So they're very close. Just, yeah.
Was it 1 year or like a 3-year thing?
I think 3 was the minimum, but it could go over 3 years. So I was looking at 3 years like a baseline just for sample size.
So like with someone with KG, is it like 02 to 04? Because like if you use like a 05, you will have like the playoff sample or like 06.
I think I did 02 to 05, but it would only be 02 to 04 for playoffs, and then 05 was just a regular season because they didn't make the playoffs. But KG in 05 was still, some could argue, that's still the best player in the world. He just didn't make the playoffs. So I did KG 02 to 05. I did Steph 16 to 19, which is 4 seasons. I did Jordan 89 to 92, which I think is 4 seasons. LeBron had 3 seasons, 12 to 14. Kobe had 06 to 09, which is 4 seasons, I think. Duncan had 02 to 04, which is 3 seasons. Magic had 3 seasons. Bird had 3 seasons. Shaq had 99 to 02, which was 4 seasons, I think. So it was 3 to 4 seasons for most people.
What year do you use for AD?
18 to 20. 18 to 20.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had him at number 20 on the list.
All right. Yeah.
Yep. Should be 19, but I ranked
Pelican
number
AD was
32
him.
from the Utah Jazz.
Low.
Yeah.
From 2015 to 2023, do you think Curry was ever better? Or sorry, from how many years from 2015 to 2023 do you think Curry was the best player in the league?
If any.
I'm gonna say it might not be none. I mean, if it's one, I would like 20. I guess 15 going to 2016 is the best argument largely because 2015 is the worst LeBron year in his prime. So
you don't think after
who was the best in
2017?
2019? Who was the best in 2019?
Claw? The Claw?
Because that's the year that LeBron got hurt.
Yeah. To me, it's clear.
Kawhi didn't play that much either.
Yeah, you could definitely say stuff.
There we go.
So you don't
I'm
think
gonna
after
go Kawhi.
17, Curry and LeBron were close?
They still close.
or Curry wasn't over LeBron like after
No,
the
I mean,
first-
2019 because LeBron got hurt. Sure.
Yeah.
Why weren't they? Wait, so do you think 17, 18 LeBron is a better offensive player than Steph?
No way.
I don't think he's a better offensive player, but I also think they're both transcendent offensive players. Though that makes sense.
I agree, but if Steph is better, I know LeBron's a better defender, but LeBron's defense, especially in 2018,
He's
is
doing
that really
everything.
moving you
That's what I was
to
thinking.
say he's better than Steph? And I know it's 2018 LeBron worse than Steph. Like I know.
I think you might have got a better version of LeBron if he's on a better defensive unit that kind of helps him out defensively.
KD was, I think
But
KD
then,
was better than Steph.
but then
though.
would you see
Steph's
the
got
same
the KD tax, that's
offense
why.
without
Steph
that
got
offensive
KD.
burden?
In 2018, he got hurt in the first round. So you like ask him for that?
Oh yeah, 2018 Steph.
KD was better than Steph though, man.
Was he?
Dom's looking.
No
Dom's
way.
cooking. Dom's
I
cooking.
do
Yeah,
believe
Dom,
Hey
that's
man,
real.
he might have been in the
That's-
finals, but I don't know if he was a better player.
Like
I
when
don't
Mark
think
was
KD
fake
was better
cooking
in
with
the
that
finals.
KD shit. He was actually
not even in
treating facts.
17.
Nah,
No,
KD was better,
2018.
bro.
2018.
Yeah, nah,
Steph
Steph
2018.
not better than
Crazy.
2018,
Nah,
bro.
listen,
I
hold
mean,
on, listen, bro. 2018, 2017, KD was better, bro.
Oh,
It's
here's
no
Ken.
debate. It's no feud. It's nothing.
He's
KD
lying.
was better in both
Why?
years
Ken,
Look at
why?
Ken, man.
because
Ken why?
better than who?
Hold on.
Steph,
KD
better
carried that, especially in 2018 when Steph was out in the first round. KD carried that offense, bro. When Steph wasn't
DeMar
there, bro.
DeRozan Spurs.
DeMar
Without,
DeRozan
what
was
I
on the
think,
team.
I don't think that,
Huh?
that's not even that. I don't think that's DeMar DeRozan Spurs. That's
Yeah, that's
Spurs.
Aldridge.
No
and
Kawhi.
Marcus
That's
Smart.
DeMar
That
DeRozan
was
Spurs.
no one's
Oh.
Spurs.
DeJounte.
But yeah, you're right. KD had a great series against the Spurs. So did Clay. I think they won in 5 games. But yeah, KD did carry that offense against the Spurs. I agree. Is that the reason why he's better?
Nah, he's better. Like you said, who was the guy they had to go to when it had to go get a bucket, had to go get something done? It was KD, right?
it was KD.
KD
Three
was the best.
people were running off
Yeah,
Steph.
KD
was
was
the
the
best shot
best
creator.
scorer on the
And
team.
remember-
KD was the
remember
best
when-
Because
scorer.
it was easier to stop Steph running off those screens because you
Listen to
switched
all the
everything,
coaches.
right?
They said they doubled
I
Steph every
agree.
time.
I agree.
Fuck
I agree
you.
that.
No, I don't agree
Tell him to
outside
go
of
get a
Houston.
bucket.
I do not agree outside
No,
of
That's
Houston.
what every
I
other
agree
player
when
like
when
Kobe
it comes
and
to
MJ.
when you need a bucket. I agree. KD was their best option. I think.
Like, I
most people
think-
would agree.
But that doesn't mean he's a better player.
But that doesn't make you the better.
He is the
Because-
better player. What you mean? He is the better player.
now-
He is the better
you can
player.
say you
No,
you
who
can
is
say
the
he's the
better
better player,
player?
but I just don't think
He
that's
is the better
reason
player.
why.
If
Whoa,
Steph
whoa,
was the
whoa,
one
whoa.
being
He's the
stopped
bucket.
because his
What
best
is this guy
ability was
talking
the
about,
shooting
bro?
and they didn't let him get those shots off
Whoa.
or even let him get to the rim.
In
I
or-
think
in
KD's
or-
the best
in
player
order to
because
score,
Wait,
in
wait,
order
if
to
that-
in order to
if
score,
KD is the best player and carry the team.
If that is the
I'm not
case,
gonna say carry.
if you thought neither one of them carried the team. If you thought that because he's a shot creator down the stretch of games that makes him better, so you think Kobe was better than Shaq because he was a shot creator down the stretch of games?
They still gave the ball to Shaq.
False
at the end of the game.
equivalency. False
Yeah,
equivalency.
that's a
I'm
bad.
not saying Shaq
Hold on,
was
that's a
bad.
bad. That's a bad comparison, bro. That's a bad compare. That's a bad
You're asking
comparison,
again, but
bro.
you're asking the wrong question.
That's a bad. That's a bad comparison, bro. That's a bad comparison.
Why is it bad?
Because the gap between and you know I'm a Kobe guy, but during the 3-peat, that was peak Shaq. So the gap between
by the time we got to 2002, the gap is nowhere near as wide.
Kobe
as
was ascending.
In
Okay,
2001
but
and
2000 and 2000 and that 2001 was a great year for Kobe, actually.
I get that. So 2001 and 2002, because it went down to Kobe down the stretch of games. Does that mean
I
he was
know,
better
but
than
that's
Shaq?
also peak Shaq. Like
This is peak Curry.
But it also comes to matchups.
When the Celtics,
but the gap to me, the gap between Kobe and Shaq was bigger.
When the Celtics will go to Paul Pierce down the stretch, was he better than Kevin Garnett?
We're not talking about the shot creation ability.
You are talking.
No, I'm just saying,
Mark,
I'm just saying, I think the gap between Steph and KD at that time, because this is also KD is also peaking around this time as well.
They were like interchangeable,
and so they're like two players in their peak. Kobe was for the most part in his ascension. You said your peak years for Kobe was 06 to 09.
How Paul Pierce and Garnett?
Y'all wanna answer that
Wait,
question?
hold on. Wait, hold on.
That's still a bigger.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. With Shaq, hold on. With Shaq,
clearly better
hold
than
on.
Paul Pierce.
KD was a better
Hold
defender.
on. Shaq,
scorer
hold
than
on.
Steph.
Hold on. I think, in my opinion, when Shaq three-peated and the Lakers three-peated, I don't think Kobe was at his best because Shaq was on the team. I think when Shaq left, that's when
My
Kobe was at
question
his
just
best
gonna
and
keep
peak.
getting ignored.
All right, answer Mars' question then. And
When
What's
they
the
were
question?
going to Paul Pierce down the stretch in Boston, was he the best player on the team?
No,
No.
KG was the best player on the team.
No, KG was.
Okay, so y'all
Okay.
acknowledge that just going to somebody down the stretch of games is not the default.
No, that's
not-
not
I think being
the
better
point
in
I'm
all-
making.
But that's not-
That's
hold on,
the
it's-
point I'm making.
Yeah, real talk. It came from the person who said that was the reason. That's why.
Whoever
No,
said that, that's
why I
not-
asked the
I
question.
just say
No,
the shot.
Who was it, Ken or?
But they.
I didn't say that.
I just said that
I
I think
didn't.
Shaq
Hold
and
on.
Kobe
Hold
was
on.
a false
I never said that.
equivalency.
I never said that KD carried because down the stretch they gave. I said
Whoever
that he carried
said
the
that.
Yeah,
offense.
that was dumb. That was dumb.
I said that, but I
Ken
wasn't
said
saying it
KD's
because of
better
the.
than
I
Wade.
wasn't saying that because of the shot creation, separation. Because KD created his own shot still in that time with Paul Pierce, right?
But but so could Curry. Curry could create his own shot, but Durant is just a better option.
But I don't see the shot
We're not about
creation
to say
ability
he
with
couldn't.
Curry.
We're not about to
Curry
say
and
he
if I'm about to say if you're
We're
about
not about
to
to
say
say
he
he
couldn't do it,
couldn't. Like, we're
then
not
you're
about to do
just
that.
you're
We're
just
not about to
lying because he literally did it.
Because if
in
you're
the
gonna say
20
KG could, we're not about to say Curry
Yeah.
couldn't. Like,
Yeah,
let's
I-
not-
2018 finals.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
it-
think Curry was the shot creator everybody makes him to be.
Nobody didn't say that.
Cool.
Nobody
He
didn't
was
say
better
that.
than Kevin Garnett.
He was a better one than Garnett, and so if you can
Curry
acknowledge
can
that
get his
Garnett
own
can
shot.
create his own shot.
Curry can get his
Okay,
own shot.
so we are acknowledging
We
that just
just say
because
you
you went. We're having this conversation right now. So just because somebody went into something, just because a team went to somebody down the stretch of games, that does not then mean that they're better than them.
I
That's
mean,
not
but
how
if
that
it's
works.
if it's easier to stop Curry and whatever he needs in the system to be successful, would it not make him a better, not a better player?
Is it? Is it?
Offensively,
Is it?
offensively, what does that say?
It's easier to take away Steph Curry's shooting.
But offensively,
But
what
in
would that
order
say
to
to
take
you?
in order to take away Steph Curry's shooting, you either need to have the best switching scheme, which Houston had, credit to them, or you're having to commit extra bodies to Steph, which
They literally double teamed him
which
every
is
time.
what they did.
Well, I
Yeah,
was
which
saying,
is
does the
still
playmaking not
still
move you?
Steph providing that extra value.
Or
So
you
in
have
order-
Anthony Davis on your team.
hold on. KD provides the same
AD
thing.
on your
KD
team,
provides the
mate.
same thing.
not to the same level.
nowhere near. To
That's
the
not
same
true,
level as
Mars.
Steph.
That's not true. And
No,
bro,
no,
in
no, no, no,
2021,
no,
hold
no.
on.
Come on.
In
Wait,
20
Ken,
Not
explain.
on no
Mars,
screen.
Mars,
KD
Mars,
not just pulling up off the screen.
Mars. In 2021, he was getting jumped by the Celtics.
No,
They were literally
we're talking
triple
about- we're
teaming
talking-
him. What you
that
We're
was
mean?
talking about in
2022.
2017 and 18.
But he
And he got swept.
That doesn't matter.
But
We're
hold on,
talking about
because
when they
hold
were
on,
on
Mar-
the same team.
Yeah,
That-
yeah, we
hold
all
on,
talking
Mars,
about when they're
hold
the
on,
same
Hold
team.
on, Mars.
KD getting
Mars
jumped
trying to
in
say that
Brooklyn
he
does
don't
not
draw.
benefit Steph Curry.
Hold on, Mars.
I'm
You're
honest,
trying to say he don't draw the same level of attention. That's not true. That's
On
not
He
true,
was
Golden
bro.
on
State.
No
Golden
one in
State. He was
history
not.
besides Shaq.
Hey, bro, you
Golden
fucking on my
State, he was
KD
not.
argument, bro.
Yeah, Ken, I'm pretty sure. I know,
You
like,
fucking it up for me.
I'm pretty sure you're very high on Kevin
It
Durant.
up.
But if we're talking about who was better on Golden State
It was
in those
Kevin
years
Durant.
between Steph
Easily.
and KD,
Kevin Durant.
KD getting doubled in Brooklyn is irrelevant. That doesn't
KD,
benefit
hold on.
anyone.
That's not KD got doubled in Golden State too.
There we go.
When?
And like I said,
When?
not to the level of Steph.
Steph.
He wasn't drawing the defensive attention to the level of
Nowhere
Steph.
near close.
He wasn't getting the guys involved to the level of Steph. He wasn't playmaking to the level of Steph. If you want to say he was
It is
playmaking,
crazy.
sure. If you want to say he
Okay,
was getting
look.
doubled, sure. But it wasn't
about
to
this?
the level of Steph.
When the defense got optimized to stop that team, who were they stopping?
Steph.
Curry, right?
It slowed down Steph, yes.
Yeah,
in,
slowed
in,
down
20,
Steph.
in 2019, that defense did a good job of slowing down KD as well.
Could that happen the same way with KD? Or no?
He just said it.
Go watch the
Go
watch the 2019 series against
Yeah, you
Houston.
cooking, dog.
I promise you'll be very surprised at how much KD struggled.
2018
cooking,
or
dog.
2019?
2019. Go watch 2019 against Houston. You'll be very surprised at how much KD struggled.
Didn't he get hurt in
I
that
don't remember.
series?
That
He
was
got hurt in game
5.
5. He got hurt in game 5. Go watch the first 4 games. You'll be surprised. That's
I
what I'm saying, you'll
mean,
be
4
surprised.
game sample. I mean,
I mean, how do we hold on?
We're
Hold on,
going,
Mars,
we're
how do
going
we
off like
know?
a 6-7 game in 2018.
Hold on,
when
Mars.
we do individual series, we're gonna have a small sample size.
Hold on, Mars. In 2019, how do we know that he wasn't playing through that same captaincy that came up in Game 5? How do we know he wasn't hurt? We don't know. We don't know if he was playing through a
And
calf
that's fine.
injury.
And that's fine. And that's
We know,
fine.
like,
And then my argument would be, how do we know in 2018 when Steph missed the whole first round, his injuries still weren't lingering around in the conference finals?
And then my argument would be,
Well, he came
2019
back.
defense.
He came back. So
And
if you on the court,
and KD never went down
KD
until he got hurt in game 5.
Kevin Durant.
So you're just
Okay, KD was a better
premeditating an
defender.
injury. I'm just assuming he wasn't 100% coming back from an injury. That's two different things.
Well, if you're on the court, I'm gonna assume you healthy, bro. I'm
Then
gonna
assume
you can
KD
play.
was healthy in 2019.
No, he went down. He went down.
Yeah,
He went
the
down.
first 4 games. You said, how do I know he wasn't
If
healthy in
you
the
were on
first
the
4
court,
games?
you have to assume he's healthy.
Until he
People
went
listen
down,
to
you have to assume he was
themselves.
healthy.
I don't know. People just don't. Oh, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like sometimes you don't listen to the things you say.
This is such a
Yeah, I
dumb
feel like
argument for
sometimes you guys
KD
don't
to
listen
make
to
that.
the things you
All
say.
right.
Yeah,
Because you be contradicting yourself 2 sentences.
Yourself.
He skewed the
Like, it's
argument.
not
I
even
couldn't
like-
even really properly cook. Too many fucking shit in my
Dom, go
dish.
ahead, go. What are you saying, Dom? Jesus.
I believe he was a better player. He was a far better defender, especially for that team. Offensively, you could say it was even, but obviously Curry had more gravity.
It was not. It wasn't even, and that's the problem right there. That
Talk
y'all
about
think
the
that it was
rebounding.
the passing and playmaking is such a noticeable gap that it was
Huge
not
gap.
even. It wasn't even. It just wasn't.
I think that's
Maybe
where the
you guys
biggest
forgot.
disconnect.
I don't think.
The biggest
I don't
disconnect is the
take
difference
too
in
much
value
into
between
Curry's
how we
playmaking,
gauge them as
'cause
offensive
I'm
players.
just
That's
not
the
taking too much into Curry's playmaking.
Well, you're
that's where the
Then you're dumb.
that's where the
problem.
disconnect's going to
Yeah.
be. If you don't see the gap in offense, you're going to think KD was better. If you see the gap in offense, you're going to think Steph was better. That's as far as it goes.
If you don't value off-ball playmaking a lot, but I'm trying to see how many plays is Steph really making. Are we counting gravity into playmaking? I do not like counting gravity.
Yes.
Because it's not.
And like I said, if you don't value, it doesn't need to be part of playmaking. It just needs to be part of offensive impact on offensive.
All right, I just had to make sure because people be saying Curry's like a top playmaker.
Yeah,
That's not true.
because to me, if I think you're creating a short off ball, on ball, I think that's playmaking. But if you don't think it's playmaking, that's fine. As long as you think it's offensive impact, I still would think you would say Steph was the more impactful offensive player on that team.
But how if KD averaged more points though?
No, stop it.
Defense is not scoring.
You're making it hard for Dom. You're making it harder for Dom. Pause.
I don't even want to cook no more, but it's too much.
Yeah, Ken. Yeah.
Hey, look.
I want to understand. I want to understand y'all logic. I just want to understand y'all logic.
When somebody's again the playmaking aspect and the value that he provides when he's off ball and just moving around and generating quality looks. And to Dom's point when he said, well, how many plays he's doing at every single play, that would be the equivalent of me asking you, how many plays is Kevin Durant impacting the defense at a high enough level to make up the gap as well? Like I don't think y'all say things and it's like these are all things that can also be said the other way also. And without a doubt, Curry was impacting more frequently on offensive possessions than KD was impacting on the defensive side. If you want to nitpick per possession, if that's what we're about to do right now. Without a doubt.
The system is built across him.
Okay, so
and he has Draymond on defense.
What?
If the defense is more, if he's doing more on defense, can't you do Draymond tax as well?
Draymond.
Didn't you just say?
Ken, what you could have?
Nah, I'm confused.
What you could have argued? What you could have argued?
Wait,
I think he's saying KD wasn't the most impactful on either side of the ball. Is that what you're saying?
No, wait. Did I hear wrong, or did he just say that he's doing more on defense than Steph was doing on offense?
No, I didn't say that.
No one said that.
I said he did more on defense than Steph did.
See, look at you, man.
The gap on that, like, what about the gap on that?
What about defense?
Yeah, I think somebody can be a much better defender than somebody else, but the value of what they are defensively isn't anywhere near close.
But he was essentially day 5. He averaged like 2 blocks.
I never said that he didn't.
Because when they played small,
I'm still not understanding.
Okay,
how was Curry better? Hold on. I'm still understanding.
I don't think neither one of I don't think neither one of you all would argue though that the value that he provided, as great as KD was defensively, is anywhere near close to the value that like either one of them are providing on the offensive end of the floor.
No,
I think I have a question.
But look, you have to
wait.
count
I think I have a
defense
question
or something. Just because it's Curry, we can't.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't. But the same way that there can be players who on both that can impact on both sides. Like for example, y'all don't want me to use.
No, don't do it.
Yeah.
Look at him, about to say Kobe. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
Come on.
Get that hate out your heart, man.
Look how flustered he gets when it can't be.
It's not healthy, my God.
Because Kobe just has like so many like great examples of like lean on.
Or why he's overrated.
Kobe.
But actually, this wasn't anything overrated. But the point I was gonna make is that long story short, you can use Magic Johnson. Like there's players on the that were two-way players. Like Kareem Undeniably was a better defender than Magic, but Magic's all-around impact offensively just made him a better player, especially in the mid to late 80s. So
he was a way better playmaker.
Can I ask Dom a question? question? So
big gap.
And Curry's a way better scorer than Magic.
But okay, but we come between KD and Steph. How big is the gap offensively, and how big is the gap defensively?
I think it's a noticeable gap.
I think it goes back to the scales on linear.
No.
Give me the water analogy.
No, it's not. There's not that.
It's not even a water analogy. It's just that being a 10 offensively and then someone else being a 9 versus a 7 defensively and then someone else being a 4. The 10 to the 9 is more impactful than the 7 to a 4.
Can I ask Dom a question real quick?
Is it?
Yeah.
Because if it's a 10, you can't be stopped. I think he was stopped. So
with KD,
I think what y'all say. I mean, it's arguable. Y'all try to like.
It's not really arguable.
I think it's close. I don't think if you want to say KD, I'm not really here to argue you down. But when somebody says it's clear, it's not
clear. Is crazy. Clear.
Because just like to me, I always think like we never flip the logic on this. Like y'all ask people like, can just because you're better in must get a bucket situations, that doesn't make you the better player. I also would venture to ask, just because an offense is designed for you, that doesn't make you a better player either, especially if I'm also another elite offensive talent myself. So like just because he comes on Steph's team, like, and then the whole thing is like Curry's more impactful on offense. Well, he's coming to a team where, yes, the offense is made around and designed for Steph Curry, but that doesn't take away that I could still come on the team and still be an individually better player, but the team is constructed around another player that I'm with. Like,
here's the other thing that you're definitely not gonna like what I'm about to say next. And I've said it before. Unless you're like a transcendent level defender, or like a 9 or like a 9 or 10 defensively, or like the impact that an individual is gonna have defensively is not gonna. It's just not making up for what somebody.
I mean, for what he had to do.
Yeah, because if you look at it, most people top 10 all times, they're great on both ends, but their main focus was offensively though. They were great defensively too, but they main focus and what they were really great at and made their bread and butter was offensively. The top 10 players of all time.
What's that? But also, like, as a defensive player, unless you're like a rim protector and playing at an elite level while protecting the basket, there's only so much that you could do and impact the game defensively versus offensively, especially if you're a ball handler or the primary playmaker. You have way more control on what's happening offensively.
I'd only say like maybe half the top 10 are elite two-way players who are better offensively than defensively.
And then the rest of them are great offensive players, right?
No, so
depends on who your top 10.
The ones who either aren't two-way players is Magic and Bird, obviously, and then Steph if he's top 10. So they just aren't two-way players. So that's 3 of them. Then you got the two-way players who are better defensively than offensively. That's Hakeem and Duncan. That's half the top 10 already. The only ones who are better offensively than defensively and also great two-way is LeBron, Kobe, Jordan,
Kareem,
Shaq.
Kareem, and then Shaq. That's it. So it's 50-50. Hakeem is better defensively than offensively. It's not even close. Yeah. So it's 50-50. And then if you have Bill Russell in your top 10, that's another guy who's
you just don't know basketball.
Better
Bill Russell in your top 10.
Yeah, you can be quiet. But the point is, it's 50.
You just don't know basketball. That nigga playing in the Jim Crow era, man. Stop it, bro. He played in the Jim Crow era. The only nigga he played was Wilt Chamberlain. Stop it, Mars. Stop it, man.
That's great.
Wilt Chamberlain was the only MVP he played against, man. Stop it. He had John Havlicek. He had a super team, man. That nigga had a super team, bro. Stop it, bro.
Bill Russell's era, which is
stop it, bro. Stop it, man.
You said
Wilt Chamberlain was the only MVP he went up against.
He said of the top 10 that they're mainly two-way players who are better offensively than defensively. I disproved that. It's 50-50.
Did Jerry West not win an MVP?
And then he wanted to go and talk about how Bill Russell had no comp. That's not relevant to the point, sir. So when you come back, address the point I made instead of talking about Bill Russell and his lack of confidence. That's not relevant. Welcome back.
Yo, this shit easy work. You see what niggas doing? They put me backstage, bro. Cooking.
You're not ticket, sir.
Like
You're not ticket.
oh, bro, you easy work, bro. Listen, like I said, bro. Like I said, Bill Russell only played Wilt Chamberlain. That was the only MVP he played, bro. Stop it, man. Stop it. That was the only level competition he played.
Are you going to address the point I actually made about what you said, or are you just going to keep talking about Bill Russell?
All right, bro. Like I said, most of the people top 10s are great two-way players, and they were better offensively than defensively.
Okay, name your top 10. Name your top 10.
I can't make a top 10 because that's why I don't make a top 10 because I wasn't old enough to see the guys like Bill like
but you're old enough to tell me
hold on. But you comment on guys like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, but you never seen them though, Bamar. You never seen them, but you comment on them and say how
you're commenting right now. You're commenting on him right now.
But he's commenting on him too, and you never.
He doesn't hold that same belief that you have.
Yeah,
but you.
But he was arguing me about Bill Russell though.
If you don't have
I didn't argue. I kicked you out because I didn't want to argue.
If you don't have a top 10, how can you make the assessment of what's in people's top 10?
No, I'm saying that's why I said what I hear from other people's top 10. They mostly have two-way players that were better offensively.
What are the two-way players?
Who are better offensively than defensively?
That are better than offensively than defensively. Who are these players?
I would say guys like Kobe, guys like Michael Jordan, guys like Magic. Guys like Larry Bird.
Magic isn't a two-way player. Magic was not a two-way player.
But Magic played defense though. Hold on, Magic played defense. So Magic didn't play defense?
Wait. No, I have one question. Ken, how old are you?
I'm 19.
You ain't seen Magic.
You didn't watch Magic play then, right? You didn't watch Magic play, did you?
I know. I admit to
that. So how do you play defense then?
Oh no.
Other people told you he played defense. Is that what happened?
Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, they lied to you. They lied to you.
So don't comment on his defense if you don't know about it.
Yeah, they lied to you.
Right? That's what you said, right? That's what you said, right? So we're informing you, some people watching him, that he's not a two-way player. So let's try this again. You said Kobe, Jordan, and Shaq. So that's 3.
No, I didn't say Shaq.
Oh, okay, Kobe and Jordan.
Kobe, Jordan, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird is not a two-way player, bro.
Hey, just give it to him. Just give it to him.
Larry Bird, Hakeem
is not better. Hakeem is not better offensively
than defensively.
Yes, he's not.
But his main focus wasn't it offensively.
No.
All right. So the Houston Rockets didn't play through Hakeem.
They played through him, but his main focus as a player was not offensively; it was defensively. His main focus was defense.
Especially is this my age group?
Yes, it is. Sadly, Tim Duncan's main focus was also defense. It was not offense.
For sure, because those 20 points per game not moving me, though. Still not moving me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a top 4 player of all time. I'm sorry.
So Ken, it sounds as if like you probably need to do a little bit more research. And thank you for coming up here, man. It was great having you.
Hey, Lo, speaking of Shaq, we talked a lot about Shaq.
Boy, got Squid Game.
How do you have Kobe over Shaq? Like, what's your reasoning for that?
Oh my god!
Wait. Keem,
what's your reasoning for Kobe over Shaq?
You have Shaq over Kobe.
Yeah, I have Shaq over Kobe.
How many spots?
They're like right there. It's like I think because Shaq would be 6 and Kobe's like 9. So like they're like 3 spots off.
9.
Kobe's 9.
9. Do you rank Bill Russell in them guys?
Yeah, I have Bill Russell in there. I think because
you have Will in there.
Like we value different things. Because I got Bill Russell in there. I got.
What were you saying?
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm sorry. What was your question? You guys got something?
No. Go ahead.
Go.
Just start again with your point that you had for them.
All right, because I'm just like, because I have Shaq over Kobe, and so I was just wondering how you like. What's your reasoning for Kobe over him?
Well, you about to say what you value? Why you think we differ? What is it that you value? That's the point.
I value accolades, and so I know we differ on those things. And so, hey, nah.
Does Shaq have more accolades than Kobe? In there. I don't think he does. I don't think Shaq has more accolades than Kobe. He has the one extra Finals MVP.
2 extra. Oh no, 1
What?
extra.
Does
Shaq
Shaq have more accolades?
than Kobe?
Hey,
No.
no, listen. Hold on. I remember earlier you said what Kobe. Well, just on the stream earlier, you said Kobe had those 18-time All-Stars when he was, he wasn't actually like that. He had all those other teams when, like, there's context for it, but he doesn't actually.
Yeah,
like,
that
context
applied.
behind
That
behind
applied.
the thing.
Shaq made an All-Star team in Phoenix.
Yeah, I know. Like, come on, we know
So,
he was not
still
known for that year.
But then wouldn't
But
that argue that
Then
that's
you
why the
wouldn't.
accolades wouldn't
Right, you shouldn't value accolades.
Out of all
Accolades are
accolades,
not
you're really arguing
everything.
all
I say
stars.
I value them, which is a
Okay.
part of differentiation.
It was like the first thing you brought up.
Okay. So if that's the case, then wouldn't that mean that the accolades would favor Kobe? That's basically what we're getting.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not everything. Like, also, like, I look at your peak, I look at your accolades, and then I look at I guess what would be like some of the other stuff in there. Obviously, it's like what you do, of course.
Sounds like Kobe's a better player to me.
What you do, bro? This is why, bro. You niggas that have, bro. Y'all don't be making no damn sense when y'all explain this, bro.
If you want to say
what you can do,
if you want to say he leans more heavily based off of peak,
you sure?
That's fine.
But I said peak. I take your accolades, and then the things that you do. I'm talking about like the things that you do.
What are the things that
What
you
are the
do
things that you do?
I couldn't think of a better way to describe
longevity.
it. I'm not talking about like tween step back. That's not what I mean by like things that you do. I'm talking about
impact.
Yeah, I thought impact. That's the better word. Cause I was like, I couldn't come up with the word I was thinking.
I kind of think Kobe's impact is up there.
Shaq's more impactful than Kobe for their careers.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Well, all right. Let's look at their careers real quick. So,
Shaq came in and was instantly more impactful.
Once Shaq left him, Kobe. Like he had that big long time of it was looking pitiful in there.
How many years?
Long time. Oh my god.
How many years was this? How many? Don't say it, March. How many years was it?
No, hold on. Because let's say they missed the playoffs.
Oh my goodness.
Was it 3?
Okay, 3.
Yeah.
One of which he didn't play the full season.
Okay.
The year they missed the playoffs, he didn't play the full season.
Those 3 years. And I'm just saying, I like Shaq better than Kobe. I'm saying.
Hey, you entitled to your opinion, my guy. You entitled to your opinion.
I take his peak. I got his accolades and his impact. Shaq had more impact. You all I'm hearing is like you want to hear my things, but my question was like, what do you have that puts him over? Because I was curious, like on your thought process.
I think what Kobe, especially when in the later parts of it, I think he provided the evidence that he doesn't need like as much as a uniquely built construction of roster around Shaq, because as impactful as Shaq was, which he was. I don't like we saw what he looked like when he went to LA, and it's not as if like the Lakers had a bad team. They actually had a quality team. He wasn't around. Jesus, Dom, I'm gonna have to meet you, Dom. Jeez. When he wasn't on a team that had like an elite level like shot creator and playmaker on the roster, his impacts just dropped immensely. Whereas Kobe, not saying that Powell was a bad post player or anything like that, but the level of post player and performer that Powell was and needed to be for them to have the level of success, while he also sustained his level of impact and his numbers and his creation, et cetera, versus what Shaq needed for him to sustain his impact and be as what he needed to be. I think those are two different type of teams that you had to build around him. Like Shaq went to LA and was on a team with Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones, and all the other supplemented pieces they had around them. But if we be honest with ourselves, at that stage in NBA history, having like 2 other players who are quality 15+ point scorers,
all-star level players,
both of which can be generate their own shots as well. And those are the type of play, and both of them are quality 3-point shooters as well.
Low, it's Tony Parker Manu-esque. Like as it
and so for Shaq to not only be able to sustain a level of dominance and impact through deep postseason runs with those players, but even see noticeable regressions in some of those playoff performances. There are series in those runs where Shaq is shooting sub 50% from the field. There are series where Shaq is only scoring like fewer than 25 points. There are series where defensively it's just not there. It's just not there. It's just not there. And so I think that stretch, if Shaq, and mind you, I don't want to make it seem like this is a very, very young Shaq. This is like Shaq. I want to say like, I'm about to say this is like relatively who he is as a prime peak player age-wise as well. He had already been in the league. He already seen some type of success. So there's things that he could have carried over from Orlando to the Lakers. And it's not there as much as it should be. Whereas Kobe's playing with Powell in my opinion, a more difficult era, especially in the conference that he's playing in. Mm-hmm. And he sustained his excellence, if not improved. You can very well argue between 2008 to 2010, he improved and as a postseason performer with the team that he had relative to Shaq.
What was that? I don't know.
But to be fair, these are like one or two mm-hmm. spots. It's not like it's like a massive amount of spots.
Yeah, because they're obviously not that far. Like in my opinion, I just prefer Shaq over Kobe. But I can see where you
think Shaq peaked higher than Kobe, don't you?
Huh?
Yeah, I think everybody believes that Shaq. Yeah, Shaq peaked higher than Kobe.
So just the longevity puts Kobe over.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, Shaq's peak definitely moves me enough to where I don't mind hearing the argument. But like I said before, I'm not huge on peaks because I feel as if like the peaks for a lot of players aren't significant. Shaq is significant enough to where I'm open to hearing the argument though. That's why.
Okay.
Yes, Mars.
Do you give Shaq a Phil Jackson tax?
I don't think that would even matter.
I think it matters. I think 1000% matters.
I'm sorry.
About that, Mars. What do you mean by that?
If you watch Shaq in Orlando with Brian Hill and then the Lakers with Del Harris, his passing and playmaking reads are highly suspect. Yeah. Highly suspect.
And he becomes a noticeable better passer
and then he gets Phil Jackson and gets the triangle, and all of a sudden his passing reads improve. The spacing is better, and it looks a lot easier for Shaq to play offensively, especially in the postseason. For me, something has to be said about the fact that Shaq in the postseason, before Phil Jackson, you can noticeably see how he deals with double teams, how he reads the floor out of the post with his back to the basket, and his ability to make more advanced reads out of the post. For me, there's something to be said about that.
Sorry to people who I just kicked. I have to because not only we run out of time, but also like there's people who
coaching tax.
Should we start taxing Tim Duncan because he had Pop?
Popovich was a terrible coach.
Yeah, he wasn't
a terrible, but he wasn't as good.
If you want to say defensively, Pop had more advanced schemes that made Tim Duncan look more impactful defensively, I'd listen to it. Offensively, no, I wouldn't listen. Offensively, no, I wouldn't listen.
In the beginning of his career, no. Jesus Christ.
But as time went by, Pop, bro, come on, Lord.
No, as time, but the arguments that we obviously have for
I don't think I've ever heard anyone be like, 2014 Duncan.
Yeah, nobody you definitely not hearing me make arguments for Duncan about 2014 when Pop was much more well-rounded. But I make arguments for Duncan when Pop was basically like, well, just get a ball to Duncan in the post and then let him figure it out. Like that's basically what the offense was.
Curry gets tagged with Steve Kerr.
So is that a no?
But what year did that stop happening? Like when did Tony Parker and Manu become 07?
07 is when, because I think even if you look at Duncan's mid-range jump shot attempts, it starts to scale up post 07 as well.
That's when they started.
So 07 is when TP and Manu started to kind of.
Well, Manu started ascending in 05.
Yeah, but Manu started, but I think
they were still running it through.
Yeah, they were still running through Duncan. I think 07 is when Duncan started to take more jump shots, face-ups. They're running more pick and rolls. They're having Duncan like at the top of the key, kind of handling it, while TP's getting baseline screens. Like they're just running different styles of offense. 07 onward.
I dead ass used to think Manu Ginobili was the best player on that team. Like
he was the second.
Because he actually
he was the second best player on that team.
Definitely wasn't TP, but we ain't
Matt Bonner.
Not TP.
Tony Parker.
Oh wait! We got the legend in here.
He's about to cook you on Larry Bird.
He is.
Damn.
Oh, is this chill tap?
No, he is not. Actually, Lo, think of me Lo as being in the
professional Kobe hater.
And I just came to support you. How about that? Like I came to see my brother watch. I came to watch my brother rock. How about
let's get back to slandering Larry Bird then while you're here then.
Oh,
This man.
Hey, look, I was just about to ask you, Lo, what's up with the Larry Bird hate, man?
There's no hate.
Look at his skin complexion. That tells you.
Please
stop.
He's not. It's not. Is it hate if I say a player is the 11th greatest player of all time? Is that hate?
No, it is not.
No, Coach Chill would say that
a little bit.
I was like, thank goodness somebody said this.
It's not hate. If you're a top 25 player, you could be considered a legend in my book.
The reason why it's not hate is because if Lo just thought that he was 11, but if you had him at like 8, like that wouldn't bother Lo. If you had him at 9, that wouldn't bother Lo.
Yeah,
but if you told Lo he was the 3rd best player of all time, that might be a problem.
If you say Bird is a top 5
I agree with that.
That might be a problem. But if you said that Larry Bird
have him top 5 though, Lo.
If you make an
argument, I don't think those people are correct. I think the people who have him top 5 are just completely wrong.
Could you make an argument for Larry Bird as a top 5 peak?
How much value do you put in the 80s era? The players that played, the teams. How much value do you put in that era?
Tomorrow's no. In the 80s for like the players.
The players, the teams, like
it's a very talented era. I mean,
something like that. We understand.
And the Eastern Conference was tough. It definitely wasn't like the West.
Yeah. The 80, but what does that have to? What do you mean? What do you mean?
If
competition,
if Bird, if we consider the 80s era, like let's just say top 3 eras, right?
Okay.
As far as great teams and players,
Mm-hmm.
if Bird pretty much washed everybody in that era, which he did. How much stock do you put in that?
Did Bird do that or the Celtics do that?
Bird was pretty. You could make a case that Bird was the best player in the 80s. That's what I'm saying.
He was.
Yeah, you could argue that.
It was a big reason why they did that. The Celtics did do it because they had a damn good team, but Bird was a big reason why they did that.
Let's say Bird is the best. Let's say Bird was for predominantly the 80s. If Michael in his peak, would he not be the best player in the 80s?
Nah, Mike.
Nah. You think?
No.
Wait, what?
I mean, if you had players...
I'm talking about Michael in the 90s. Michael.
Yeah.
Well, the point I'm making is that just being the best player of a decade is not then. I don't like because Kareem is the best player in the 70s. That doesn't really move me at all. Like that's not.
Well, you have him number 3.
Well, that's why.
But that's not the. But that's why to me that doesn't matter one way or another because Kareem being the best player.
Nobody puts the 70s like as a top era all time though. Like thinks.
Yeah, but okay, but who is Bird competing with in the 80s to be the best player? It's Magic, right?
Magic.
Actually, Magic.
You can put Kareem. You can put Kareem up there as well.
No, you can't. Kareem was on the tail end of his. Was on the tail end.
Kareem fell off, but from 80 to 83, 84.
No, we're talking about the whole decade.
No, the whole decade.
The whole decade. Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas was the best player.
Think about Jabbar when Magic showed up. That's KG going to the Celtics. That's who Jabbar is.
Don't say that too loud. You say that too loud. I might put him even lower. Chill.
What I'm saying.
If I said that exact sentence, he won an MVP in 1980. If I said that exact sentence, I'm a hater. But
yeah,
KG won an MVP in 1980.
KG had an MVP caliber season in 08.
And was the defensive player of the year that year.
He was not better than Kareem. Kareem to me, like I said, he fell off. He definitely
That's the dumb shit right there.
What?
Just because he does not have to be better than Kobe to have an MVP caliber season.
Right.
He had an MVP caliber. Okay.
KG.
I think he was defensive player. I think he was defensive player of the year, but MVP caliber season. Okay.
He was almost a 20-10 guy. He was the best
MVP caliber season.
While being the best defender in the league.
So 20-10 and
while being the best defender in the league.
20 and 10 used to really hit in like.
That's what I'm saying.
It's more than just points and rebounds.
2008 was a big ass deal.
Y'all looking at 2010 now like it's like 2010, but
2010 that's DeAndre Ayton numbers. Like no, there's
exactly
more,
that's not how it was in 08. That's not how.
Like, you can't just sum up how good someone was. Oh, they were the best defender, and it was 2010.
But
like,
I don't
more
think
to it than that.
Kareem from 80 to 84
I agree
better. He wasn't on no KG. He was better than
I agree, but
MVP.
Long story short though, Kareem, I don't think Bird stepping into the league was as good as Kareem either though. So even the point that you're trying to marginalize it, minimize it to the 3-year sample size, and that specific 3-year sample size, Bird wasn't the best player in the league, but we would still assess him as the best player of the decade, even though on a year-to-year basis.
And he had to compete. He had to compete with Magic, which a lot of people have.
It's just Magic, but it's just Magic. He competed with Magic.
Jordan is
Dominique Wilkins.
Jordan is not.
Alex English.
5 years.
Alex
5 years of Jordan in the 80s.
But he won't win enough.
It's not 5 years. It's a rookie Jordan. His second year, he's not.
Still no love for Moses Malone.
It's like 3 years of Jordan, and even one of those.
Moses could be in there.
Okay, so the point. All right,
Moses could be in there.
So let's get to that point. Bam. Now go to the 2000s. Kobe is competing with like Shaq, LeBron, Duncan, Garnett. That is a way.
Dirk,
that is a
throw in Dirk.
Am I saying? Because if you're throwing in Alex English, I'm throwing in Dirk. That is a much more thorough list of names. If we're being honest with ourselves,
right?
Okay, so I'm going to say this for the decade.
And according to some, a top 5 offensive player of all time, correct?
No, I agree.
According to some.
I agree with that whole entire decade, yes, but you had the 84 draft. I don't forget about Hakeem Olajuwon when I talk about players in the 80s. I don't forget about Charles Barkley
in the 80s.
Charles Barkley was never in any conversation to be the best player in the league for any extensive period of time.
I'm not saying that. I'm strictly talking about the teams, the great teams that were in the 80s, and I'm talking about the players that passed through that he had to be. Even if Hakeem Olajuwon is not at his peak or he's considered the best player, he was still Hakeem Olajuwon. He still put up numbers. He still went to the finals. It's
Hakeem by name, yeah.
But even if that's true, what you're saying about himself,
he's still himself.
Yeah, he's still Hakeem. But I mean,
when Hakeem Olajuwon was doing what he was doing during that time, the logic on Olajuwon was he was next. Bird was already established at that point. Bird was already that guy, and Bird had already established himself as the best player in the game by 86. 87 when Olajuwon was starting to blossom as a player. Now I want to clarify when I said that if think about Jabbar as KG from an age standpoint. He was 32 years old when Magic showed up, and he was on the other side of who he was. I'm not saying that KG and Jabbar were the same player. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying though is from an age standpoint, they were the same age, and both of them were basically on the other side of their prime.
Okay. How much stock do we put into Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, it's
not much.
Can I ask a little question?
Oh, wow.
And in contrast to the players that I just named you Duncan, Garnett, LeBron, and Shaq. And you brought up Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Give me Jason Kidd.
I'm about to say
wow.
Because and that doesn't mean that he trashed.
Yeah, Jay Kidd. Oh my goodness.
At no point,
Isaiah was a player in the 80s though.
At no point during that time did anybody ever consider Isaiah Thomas the best player in the league. At no point.
I get that. You guys are talking about best players in the world. I'm not saying that.
Bird went up against a lot of great players.
I'm strictly talking about players and who they were. If Bird can say, I went up against Magic and Kareem, I went up against Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dr. J, Moses, Barkley, Ewing, and I washed them all, and I'm considered the best player of that era. I hold a lot of weight to that.
Sure, absolutely.
Did he say Dominique?
Whoa. Who's that?
Yeah, you could throw Dominique.
Who's that?
Dominique Wilkins as well.
But then I would have to put into context again. This is where the team success conversation comes into play, because then you would have to also put into conversation that he had either the best or the second best team in the NBA at that time practically on a year-to-year basis for like 4 to 5 years straight.
Correct, but
that's a fact.
But it's
the problem with that logic though is that you leaving out a very important aspect of it. Even though he had the best team.
Chill.
Hey, chill. Your mic,
you
chill.
gotta leave and come back. Your mic is really like so bad that we can't even barely hear.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Okay, I'll leave and come back.
All right, cool.
But what? Okay, so real quick, I played in the great era in the 80s. I watched everybody, and I have one of the highest peaks in the 80s as well. Like, what peak in the 80s do you put over Bird?
No, I think he had the best peak in the 80s. But again, these are all specific things that
and I'm not and I can't be top 10.
Magic.
No, bro, because if I played in an era where now I'm not properly assessing somebody because in my peak I have to peak higher than KG, Duncan, and Shaq.
Lo, can I ask you a question real quick?
That's my assessment, and I think that you would agree that Shaq peaked higher than Bird anyway. So just because I fell second to Shaq does not mean that my peak isn't on par, if not better than Bird. Correct?
I think Shaq peaks is like if 1, 2, or 3.
So if you're in the 2000s, such as, and so now when I talk about Kobe, everybody's fine with this. If I'm in the 2000s like Kobe, I cannot say that my peak is the best peak in the 2000s. And I don't think that should go against Kobe. It should go into context that the reason why my peak isn't the best is because I have to compete with a peak of Shaq. That's the problem. But that doesn't mean that I'm lesser of a player than Bird is because he got to peak at the same time as maybe some years of Moses and Magic. Those peaks are nowhere near close to Shaq.
Magic, Isaiah,
those are nowhere near close to Shaq.
Jordan,
not as good as Shaq.
Jordan's 80s
is not in the 80s.
Yeah, his peak is in the 90s.
Hold on. So in 88, I averaged 35, 8, and 8.
You think that was his
MVP
peak?
And Defensive Player of the Year?
That was his peak?
4 turnovers.
That was his peak?
88 is not his peak? What's the peak? What's the peak to y'all?
No. To me, I think 89 is part of Jordan's peak, but that's 1 year in the 80s.
I don't think anybody.
But in 80, forget about the 37 points per game. I averaged in 87. In 88, I'm 35, 8, and 8. Defensive Player of the Year.
He rubbed to King.
League MVP, scoring title.
Was Bird better than
accolades wise? Yeah, it's probably his peak.
That's a peak.
Even if was Bird better than Michael that year
in the 80s?
No, in 88, the year that you're referring to right now.
I would take Jordan.
Okay, so that's further my point. That if he had to share more years like that with somebody else in the 80s, he probably would not have had the best peak in the 80s.
He shared it with Magic the whole 80s.
Magic's peak wasn't throughout the whole 80s, though.
No, but he shared the whole entire 80s with
And Magic has
Shaq's
a great peak.
Wasn't the whole 2000s?
But after we got done with Shaq peaks, then we have Duncan's peak, then we have Garnett's peak.
But who are you? Who are you?
Who are
you making this for? You making this for Kobe?
If you're Kobe, the first 5 or 6 years in the 2000s, there's those are the peaks that I'm having to go up against. That's a crazy list of names that I have to go up against now.
KG, Shaq, Dirk,
Shaq, Duncan,
KG,
Shaq, Duncan. I'm not even going to players like Dirk. No, Jesus.
Wow, that's kind of.
I don't know. What I'm saying is I don't have to. I don't have to go down to Isaiah Thomas level to make this argument right now. I can just specifically go from Shaq because Isaiah Thomas is not on the same level as these players. They're not. He's not. It's not a knock to him.
You got Dirk over Isaiah Thomas?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Pretty I ain't gonna lie. Low is kind of cooking with that because I don't think I ever heard anyone have Isaiah in they top 10 all time.
No,
I've met someone. One person I know. One person who has Isaiah Thomas top 10.
But I'm saying as a player, so 20 and 10 is moving y'all with KG, but 20 and 10 is not moving y'all with
because if he's the best defender in the league, that's the difference.
This is what I mean. 20 and 10, just saying 20 and 10, it's just that's it.
Come on, Mac.
I can't say it.
Mac
Watch the games. I don't know what to say. Watch the games.
You know the difference between somebody giving you 20 and 10 while being arguably the best defender in the league versus Isaiah Thomas.
And I understand Isaiah Thomas being 20 and 10 and being one of the best point guards in the game as well.
Being one of the best point guards or being the second best point guard is not the same as being the best defender.
It's Isaiah Thomas.
No one's saying that he's bad. No one's not saying that he's bad. Matter of fact, he's great. We're arguing Isaiah Thomas as a player, in particular his peak, in contrast to Shaq, Duncan, and Garnett. He is not on that level.
I don't know if Isaiah Thomas was a top 5 player.
No, I would definitely put Magic and Jordan there.
1 year, Jordan,
I think we're
which
my bad.
Birds. Well,
2 years, 88, 89.
2 years of 2 years of it though. That Bird wasn't better than him. So that's further. The point I'm making is that if Bird had to, how about this? If Bird had to spend 5 to 6 years in the 80s with somebody as good as peak Jordan, would he be the best? What you call it?
No, probably not.
Point. That's the point.
What's getting confused?
But nobody in the 2000s except for Shaq is peak Jordan. What are we talking about?
What?
I think what Lowe's basically getting to, like when you talk about like especially like the 2010 type games, like type seasons, right? Like you wouldn't consider Jordan's 35. You know what I'm saying? Jordan's 35-point season the same as James Harden 35-point season. Because Jordan
I wouldn't count
because like 88 like didn't like Jordan was like what top 5? He was like top 5 in defensive player of the year that year. MVP.
He won it.
Oh, that was the year he won. That proves my point even more. So like even though you have a 35-point season, they're not all the same. Just like all 20 and 10 seasons are not the same.
Do you think there was? Do you think somebody else? Go.
What peak is better, Shaq or Jordan?
I think Jordan's peaks is better, but I don't think Jordan peak that makes him better. A better peak was in the 80s, though. It's in the 90s.
If a peak is a peak, so if his peak is from I say 87.
That's you who's saying this. I don't know.
If you're saying 87 and 88 is Jordan's peak Shaq's better.
Yeah, peak Shaq is better.
He's not averaging more points, and he's not better defensively.
He's in the slowest pace era.
He's not averaging more points, and he's not better defensively.
87, 88 Jordan is not peak Jordan. No, that is not. He was on his way to that.
I don't think anybody would agree. I don't think so.
No.
What is that then? It's what is he?
He's entering his prime. Because I can tell you right now, 92 Jordan was better than 88 Jordan.
Thank you.
Easily.
I would take that as well. I think that's the best version of Jordan. But if I'm averaging 30, but I'm still averaging 35, 8, and 8, 200 steals, 100 blocks.
He averaged 37 the year before that.
So what? So if you can acknowledge that statistically, that doesn't make you a better player because Jordan in 92 was not averaging what he averaged in 87, and yet you can, or even 88, and you can still acknowledge
but I'm still a first team all defense.
You are 100%. You are, but you just mentioned it. You just mentioned it, Mac. When you just talked about being in your peak. And I'd like to think that 88, 89 Jordan from the next year, he was better than 88, 87, 88 Jordan. He was. I actually thought he should have won the league MVP that year. Absolutely. So now this is what I want you to remember.
This is why accolades are terrible too.
We're splitting hairs.
No. Well, this is what you have to do when you're talking about the all-time greats. Not only that, when you're talking about seasons like that. So, for example, that 88, 89 Jordan, 88, 89 Jordan. Number one, he was a better passer that year. He was in a different role where he was the primary ball handler in the offense more, and he was the primary distributor. He wasn't that the year before. Not only was he not that the year before, he actually shot a higher field goal percentage the next year in 88, 89. He shot around the same amount of free throw percentage. But in terms of offense, he's getting guys like Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, because the triangle isn't involved yet. The triangle, there's a reason why they dropped to 6. The reason why they dropped to 6 is because what Jay was doing, he was doing the same thing the year before. He had to be more of a distributor in order for them to win. He had to be more of a playmaker for guys like Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and DJ Armstrong wasn't there yet. I'm thinking of why is his name Sam Vincent? He had to be more of a playmaker for these guys in order for them to be more productive. That's why they dropped as far as they did, because earlier in the season he wasn't doing that. That's why they fell to where they fell to.
Can I ask a little question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So that 35, 8 and 8 that he was doing in 87, 88, you get more value out of the dude that was 33, 8. The dude 33, 8 and 8. The dude 33, that's the dude that's 33, 8 and 8 the next year. He's actually, you get more value from him than you do the dude that the year before that.
Okay, if you look at it that way, but the defense to me, it doesn't fall off. It's not better. It's the exact same. So defensively, I'm peak. I just won a defensive player of the year, and I stay at that level, if not go down. I don't go up.
I think he was a better defender, actually. I think he got
offensively 35, 8 and 8. How are you and you're telling me I'm getting better because I have a different role, a different coaching change?
It's just more than the box score.
You're taking these.
That's it. It's just more than the box score.
He was a better defender even as time progressed, and he wasn't 88.
Like, is the year LeBron averaged 31? Is that his best year? Like, no, just because you have more points in a year.
Wait, MacDev, do you understand that 2008 is not the best version defensively of KG, right?
Yeah.
So you can acknowledge that you can be a better, just because you won DPR doesn't mean that you are. So you genuinely just believe that 88, he's a better defender than he ever was in any other year.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like that was his peak and then he got worse. I'm saying he sustained that. To me, Jordan's peak is like 88, 93. I'm sorry if he had a longer peak than a lot of people, but he was that guy, like from 88 to 93. Bird played in the last era of the 80s. He faces Jordan's peak. He's got Magic. He's got Isaiah.
He doesn't really face.
He faced 1 year of Jordan.
I'm about to say he's because in '89 he's not. He plays 6 games in '89. This is Bird plays 6 games in '89.
He had a back injury,
and then that's basically it. And
but if you move to the '89-90 season, when you move to the '89-90 season with him coming off that back injury, I mean, he still was an elite player. He wasn't Bird that was a top 2 in league MVP votes. No, he wasn't that guy, but I could still see Bird at that time as right outside the top 5, if not still a top 5 player. Like, all right, he wasn't better than Magic at that point. He wasn't better than Jordan at that point. But then you got guys that are on their way, like Barkley.
I don't think he's better than Barkley that year.
Malone, Olajuwon.
He can be better than
MVP in 19.
Right. Malone, Ewing, right? A lot of guys like that. Now those guys are in the conversation, but Bird is still an elite player at that point, and he's still playing at an MVP level. So we're still talking about a player that's elite at that time. Now, is he 87 Bird? Is he 86 Bird? No, but is he still in his prime? Is he still elite? Even though he had an injury, is he still elite? Yes, he's still. I'd like to think he's still an elite player. So that's a decade of sustained greatness.
It's 90 years because we had to cut out 89. So I would
it's
consider
still 10 though. Figure
well, if it is 10, it's still 10. And I said this before. I think people don't know how common it is. I'm not saying it's common, but we already looked at it. But there's like 25 players in NBA history who are giving you 10 years of that caliber play. Maybe 25, maybe stretching with some of those names. But there's definitely more than 10 players giving you at least 10 years. 10 for people, in my opinion, is like borderline the bare minimum. And Bird is scraping by that mark right now at 10. And so 10 is great, not taken away from. It's important. It's needed to be in these conversations. But 10, when everybody else is giving me also 10, if not 11, if not 12, if not 13, and then we go into the postseason, and I believe there's years of Bird and throughout his career where there are noticeable drop-offs in the postseason to where he's not playing at that level anymore. Then that would take away from those years as well. So I don't think that Bird just provided enough years in a general sense in contrast to the other players in the top 10.
I don't know.
Which is fair, Lo. So with that also being said, the bare minimum that we're talking about, let's just say for the sake of argument that's true, and we're talking about the bare minimum. I gave you 10 years. Okay, so this guy gave me 11 years, or this guy gave me 12 years. Well, what did I do in those 10 years that this guy didn't do in those 12 years? Well, it's obvious that I played at a higher level during those 10 years, considering I did win the league MVP. And here's why I feel like accolades matter to me, Lo. And the reason why I feel like accolades matter to me is because there are other guys playing at that level. So it's not like they're just handing out the league MVP. It's not like they're just handing out the defensive player of the year. It's not like they're just handing out the sixth man of the year. There are other people playing at that level, which means that if I'm consistently playing at that level, the fact that I'm winning it multiple times, I feel like that's a big deal. And it should be recognized. I don't want to just go off of, well, it's just something that, you know, you got that year. No, there was another guy that was playing right behind me that I ended up beating out that year who was also playing at a high level. I mean, Hakeem Olajuwon, he didn't make the all-league defensive team at 89. He had almost 300 blocks and over 200 steals. So to say that a guy like Patrick Ewing, who made the all-league defensive team, makes the all-league defensive team, and that doesn't matter to him, when a guy like Olajuwon is playing at that level, and for him to get that, I mean, that does matter, even though I feel like Olajuwon should have made the all-league defensive team, 100%.
But the fact that you feel like he should have made it is further proof to why. I'm not saying it don't completely matter, but we had to use context. Right. So, like, the fact that you feel like he should have made it because he clearly is playing at that level is further proof to why it can't just be the end-all, be-all. He won MVP, he did it, and that's why I'm going to credit him for that and not him. Like, both of them played at an MVP level. There's certain things that can come into the conversation that may be out of their control that may prevent me from winning MVP, but that does not mean that I'm not playing at an MVP level. So again, what's a much more accurate depiction is Bird is giving me 9 to 10 years of MVP caliber play.
Right.
Kobe Bryant is giving me about 11 to 12 of them. That right there is a more accurate depiction than Bird has 3 MVPs, Kobe has 1. That is a way more accurate depiction than how many MVPs
Bird has a top 10 peak.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Lo, can I ask a question real quick?
I don't get it.
I've already. You. I think you missed. I'll explain. Hold on. Wardell, go ahead. Go now. I'll explain the peak argument thing.
Yeah, I heard you and Mars in the stream say that Larry Bird was the best player of the '80s. So why is he not ranked ahead of Magic Johnson, in your opinion?
Yeah.
If you just acknowledged, no, you said it in the stream. Like I heard it.
Yeah, I know. I'm about to say I don't. Again, I think that there's years where Bird is not translating as much as other people say in the postseason. But Mars, I think, has Bird over Magic.
And like Magic also had a short career, so I'm like they also.
No, Magic did not have a short career. He had 12 years.
No, he did.
So is Larry Bird the best player of the era or not? Because like it sounds like you're giving him props and taking it away.
No, I still think that even if he's the best, I think it's predominantly because he dominated in a point of time where Magic wasn't ascending at that point. I think it's much closer. If somebody told me that Magic is better, I would probably agree with them as well. I don't think the gap is as wide as a lot of people.
It isn't. It isn't low. Not only is it not not that wide. There was a stretch where he was better than Magic, and then I feel like Magic passed him. Magic ultimately passed him, but for a stretch he was better. And I do remember you saying, Lo, that he did struggle in the playoffs against guys like Bobby Jones. I mean, I think I put it on your mind, Lo. I don't know if you noticed, and you just mentioned the accolades, which I mean I do care about that stuff. But I mean, Bobby Jones, I think he's one of 5 guys to have 10 or more all-league defensive nods. This is who Bird is dealing with on the regular. I mean, this is arguably the best defensive forward in the game during that time. This is who he's dealing with on the regular. And by the way, this is the same guy that when they played them in the playoffs, I think Bird averaged like 25 and 11 against him, 25 and 12 against him in the playoffs against Philadelphia, and ended up losing.
Which year?
They lost in 83. 82, I'm sorry. 82 they lost. In 81, I think he averaged like 25 and 12, including those last 3 games when they were down 3-1. I think he averaged like 25 and 13.
In 82?
81. Yeah, 81.
Now we went back to 81. Okay, yeah, I think 81. Yeah, 81. I think he had a really good series against them.
Yes,
but then the next 2 years, he doesn't have. If I'm not mistaken, I know 82. He did not have that good of a series.
83. They didn't play the Sixers because they lost.
No, they played Milwaukee.
The Sixers.
Bro, where do you have Magic?
Milwaukee packed him up as well.
I have Magic at the back of my top 10. I think like 9 or 8 or 9.
Oh, okay. So they're Larry Bird and Magic are relatively close.
Yeah, they're not that far. So now to Matt Deff's point, yes, I personally, to peak to me, unless it's like somebody's peak is just like a top 2 to 3 peak, like Shaq, Jordan and LeBron, and maybe I guess Kareem, but or same with Hakeem actually as well. Unless you had like a peak that is like noticeably better than a lot of other players, I don't think players' peaks are that far removed from one another to where I'm going to lean heavily on peaks. And I would say, and again, I know people are going to hate them saying Kobe again, but even though I think Bird peaked higher than Kobe, I think we will all rather take the 3 extra years that Kobe is giving you performing at a high level than
not all of us.
Well, not all of us, I guess, not all of us. Yeah, because chill.
There's some haters around.
But I would rather take the 3 extra years that I'm getting from Kobe, because that is extending my window for an all-time great player, rather than the slight edge of even if it is an edge of peaks, because Kobe's peak, even if it's not as good as Bird, it's more than good enough to achieve the job that I'm trying to get to.
So Kobe's peak was kind of long. What was had more duration than Bird.
His prime was longer than
prime,
which is fair. Which is fair. But I think that this conversation moves further away from what exactly your crew did and more of what kind of basketball player you were and what you produced. That's what it sounds like to me. And I can appreciate that logic. Where I struggle with the basketball player logic is when I see better basketball players get outplayed. That's where I struggle. I can get what you're telling me, Lo, that this guy is better at basketball than this guy, and his skill set is better, and he produced more at an individual level. But then when you tell me that a guy's team he was playing on one of the best teams, and the reason why he was playing on one of the best teams was largely due to him, which would explain why they were better, I don't think that can be left out.
I hear what you're saying, but again, it kind of goes back to the team, and I think that is from me with Bird, from what I've witnessed from Bird, especially as time progressed. I know a lot of the problems and flaws in this game I don't think he ever addressed, because he really didn't have to address, and so it looks as if like he is a player that is this, he's probably a slightly better than I think people probably give him credit for, and that's just because they provided the tools around him and provided him with, like, arguably the greatest team of all time between 84, 5, 6, and 7. So being on a team like that, who Bird is as a player, I don't think we probably get the proper assessment of who he was just because he's on that team.
You don't think he's a two-way player?
Chill.
At least from what y'all consider to be two ways. No, I don't think Bird is an elite level defender the way that y'all talk about him. Like, especially like 87, 80, 86, 7, 88. Like, no.
Okay, Lo. Let's get to the bottom of something really quick, Lo, because I know how you feel about accolades. He wasn't Kawhi Leonard, Scottie Pippen good as a defender. Let's kill that right now. I just want to make sure that we clear on that, right?
He said two way. That's when y'all say two way, isn't that what I mean?
We're talking about
putting him all time great.
We're talking about on the defensive side. No, he wasn't Leonard. He wasn't Leonard. He wasn't Scottie Pippen. He wasn't Dennis Rodman, but as a defender, Bird was a really good team defender. What I mean when I say team defender, he was really good at cutting off angles, shooting gaps, defensive rebounding, blindside steal, stuff like that. Bird was really one-on-one. I think that Bird was maybe above average, but the fact of how good he was as a team defender, I think that made up for his deficiencies athletically as a defender.
Sounds like a bigger Steph Curry.
Yeah, so
no. You know why it doesn't sound like a bigger Steph Curry?
So who's the better all-around defender between Kobe and Bird?
Steph doesn't have the physical attributes. That's why he gets bullied.
I agree. Biggest Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Even if that's true,
also doesn't have physical attributes to stand in front of.
No, he doesn't.
Forwards. So,
but the problem with
deficiency in that.
But the problem, though, with Mars' logic is, well, Steph Curry played with the Defensive Player of the Year. Why didn't he produce more? He should have been better as a defender.
Because he had the physical limitations.
No, that doesn't work, because I got guys who were small like Steph Curry. I mean, Sidney Moncrief wasn't 6'6".
John Stockton.
Sidney Moncrief was much more athletically gifted than Steph.
Wait, what about Curry?
Yeah, Sidney Moncrief was much more athletically gifted.
Stockton wasn't. I was going to bring
Stockton
Stockton
wasn't
up
that
also.
good. So is Stockton a two-way player, y'all?
Yes, he is. Yes, he was.
Yes.
If that's the bar that y'all have for two-way, then that's fine. But
That's not a bar. It's Stockton.
I don't want to cut you off, Lo. I don't want to cut you off, Lo. But what I just want to say really quickly, I don't want to confuse Bird in the same category with Scottie Pippen and Kawhi Leonard and Dennis. No, he wasn't that good as a defender. However, he was a really good defensive player, and he was an elite two-way player.
His defensive IQ, and what I mean by that is he's a very good post player. He can diagnose the plays. He jumps. He got steals. He challenged shots at the rim, and yes, he got dunked on plenty of times. Ask Dr. J and Dominique Wilkins, but still, he was a great roamer. Defensive IQ, diagnosed plays, and yes, I think he was average to above average on ball defender.
I think he was above average.
He was a two-way player.
Mm-hmm.
I think the value can defensively definitely drop as we get later into the 80s. But also more importantly, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Unless you're playing transcendent defense, I just don't think that you're defensively as an individual, your value is going to be that prominent over somebody offensively.
Sure he was.
And even if you want to say Bird was two-way, that is absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Again, majority of the players, I think outside, I guess what y'all would argue, Curry and Magic, majority of them are also two-way players. So the thing, Bird just would need to do something, in my opinion, that would put him over someone like and Russell as well. Bird would need to do something.
Bill Russell was better offensively than Bird was defensive.
But we're not gonna have that. So is Bill Russell a two-way player? Is Bill Russell a two-way player to y'all?
He gotta be.
I think so. Yes, he is. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
I just see me. I would never consider Bill Russell a two-way player.
What are you talking about? He's a two-way player.
He averaged 20 and 20 in the playoffs 4 times.
Averaging 20 points, playing 120 possessions.
So a two-way player has to. So a two-way player has to be.
Leaving me. That's like 12
all-time great at both.
No,
ends,
I think
what's the level?
I thought just at least elite
in this conversation.
I don't think Bird.
Yeah, to me two-way is great on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think Bird was elite defensively as we get later into the 80s. I think he was.
Hey,
I think he was more than. I think he was really really good. But I don't think
rebounds not moving him. Okay,
rebounds maybe.
But wasn't his rebounds going down as the 80s progressed?
He averaged 10 for his career. So
I'll ask the question again: did rebounds go down as the 80s progressed?
I think later when at this back injury, he didn't.
In the 9, if you want to go 90, but from 80 to 89,
They regressed. That he came into the league averaging 10 plus rebounds, 11, almost 11. And by the time we get later on, it's 9 rebounds.
After that back injury,
9 rebounds. Like you go from 11 to 9.
You got to factor in that Kevin McHale then came in.
Yeah, but his argument, I said as the 80s
I agree.
Right.
So then you brought up rebounding. If we're talking about Bird and who he once was in contrast to who he later was, rebounding wouldn't be a point if the rebounding numbers went down. That wouldn't be a point. He still was a great rebounder, but to sit here and if I'm comparing him to who he once was and to who he is in the late 80s, no, he just regressed as a defender as the 80s went on to the point where I would not label him as an elite level defender anymore.
Larry Bird's defensive peak came in his MVP seasons, in my opinion.
I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
About like 80,
I got a question. I got a question for all y'all. Lo, how many years would you consider LeBron the best player in the league?
Best player.
He showed up
best player in the game.
He showed up in 03. He showed up in 03. When what year do you think he was the best player in the game?
At bare minimum 2010.
Okay.
I agree. I would still take Kobe, but that's bare minimum.
2011 for me is blatant. LeBron's the best player on the planet.
I think from 2010 to 2020, it's not counting 19. I think you can very well make an argument every single last one of those years.
Okay.
I think 19 after 19.
How you feel? How you feel, Chill? How you feel?
I've had this conversation with Lo and with Mars. If I'm being consistent, right? If I'm being consistent, I felt like in 09, He was the best player in the game, but I couldn't say he was the best player in the game simply because in 08, Kobe Bryant won the league MVP. In 09, they won the NBA championship, and then they won it again in 2010, and they won it in back-to-back seasons, and he was the finals MVP. If I felt like Tim Duncan did the same thing in 01, in 02, 03, and won the league MVP and the NBA championship, I felt like he was the best player in the game. So I felt like in 2010, even though personally I felt like he was better, I couldn't deny that Kobe Bryant was the best player on the planet. So at bare minimum, it was 2011.
So you thought LeBron was better, but Kobe was better?
Okay, I
couldn't say it though. He just couldn't say it.
He couldn't say it. I couldn't.
But he's saying it right now.
But in the moment, he couldn't say it.
I couldn't. Because if I'm being consistent, right? Because if I'm being consistent, how I felt about Tim Duncan, who won the league MVP in 2002, won the league MVP in 2003, and won the NBA championship and the Finals MVP, right? Even though I felt like Shaq was better, I couldn't deny that. I couldn't deny it.
Chill. How many years would you say that Kobe was the best player in the league?
My brain's hurt.
How many years would I say Kobe was the best player in the league? So when did Kobe become the best player in the game?
To you,
that's what he's asking you. Yeah,
from 96 to 2016.
He came into the league in 96.
He showed up.
I'm just playing.
He showed up in 1996. When did I think he was the best player in the game? And it wasn't a question.
No,
it don't have to be with the.
You know what? I want to change the question. I want Chill to be true to himself. Not when do you think he was the best and you couldn't argue against it. When do you genuinely think there was no one better than Kobe Bryant? Not you can't deny it because he did this and that. When do you think Kobe Bryant was the best player on the planet?
I never felt like that, yo. I didn't.
Oh my God!
Wait.
Chill. You can't tell me that's
not. But I had to give it up. In 2009 and in 2010, I had to give it up. In 2010, I had to give it up.
Who was the best player in 08?
In 08?
Yes.
Lo, who's the best player? 06 through 010.
Who's him?
Bryant.
Okay,
I had to give it up. Bryant.
That's not what you believe. That's what you feel like you have to say.
Not you saying.
So if I'm being consistent, if I'm being consistent,
it's not about being consistent. Who did you think was the best?
I felt like
you didn't want to argue, and you was like, he's done all of this. You can't deny it. When you were like, this guy, I'm watching him. He's better than everyone. When was Kobe that guy?
It's 03. Like,
Mars, I know when it was. When he busted his ass 11-0. When he busted his ass
in 09 and 2010, you've said to yourself, you think LeBron was better. You just couldn't deny what Kobe had achieved. But you think LeBron was better. So I'm not giving you those. That's not Kobe being the best. You think
Kobe was the best player in the league.
You don't think Kobe was the best. You think it was LeBron.
You don't think he was the best player,
Chill. That's why I say you got agendas, man. You got agendas.
Can you hold on for a second, Lo? Hold on for a second, Lo.
Oh man, why you don't say things?
06. He was fucking incredible.
Yes, he was.
07, 06, he was fucking incredible. Holy shit. I couldn't deny that. He was awesome in 06 with 35 a game.
But when your team's trash, how much can you? No, wait, stop, because we're asking.
Low, that's what
he has to stay on the same. We need the same question. We're not saying that he's incredible or not.
Right.
We're trying to figure out who. So in 06,
right,
who was the best player in the league?
Remember, Tim Duncan had just come off the Finals MVP, so I know how
you.
I know how you were feeling.
Right. That's what we talking about. Like,
so you think
at the beginning of the 05-06 season, I felt like Duncan was the best player coming into the league. Coming into the league. First of all, before we go any further, buddy, do you honestly think that I'm holding on to playing a meaningless one-on-one game with a guy over 25 years ago?
Nah, it ain't
Are
that,
you really? Why'd you bring it up then? Why'd you bring it up then? Why did you bring it up then? What did you bring it up for then? What's the purpose of bringing up a meaningless one-on-one game that nobody cared about against a kid in 19 who was 19 years old. So what I'm gonna do is this dude,
That
this
kid
dude
got with you.
25 years
That kid
later,
got with
I'm gonna
you.
hold that against him.
Man,
Holy
it's a
shit.
lot
We
of
really
kids.
doing that?
Okay,
25 years later, I'm holding that against him. That's the
Because we getting the
goofiest
truth
shit
out.
ever.
We getting the truth out you, Chill. We
But
getting the truth out.
Lo,
One
to
more
answer your
question. One more
but Lo,
question.
to
Lo.
answer your
I mean,
question,
one more
Lo,
question.
I'm sorry, Lo, to answer your question, Lo, to answer your question, in the beginning of the 05-06 season, I felt like Duncan was the best player, but it was Kobe.
But you thought it was Duncan.
But you thought it was.
I felt like it was Duncan, but it was Kobe.
So to you, it was
how about this?
Duncan.
How about
So to
this?
you,
By
it was
the
Duncan.
by the end of the 06 season, who did you think it was? You thought it was Wade?
No, I never felt like Wade. Wade was never better than Bryant at any point. No, at no point.
But that's who won the Finals MVP, though. So
No,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
He was never better. I never looked. I looked at Wade and Bryant like I look at Jordan and Drex. At no point, as good as Drex was, he was never 23 good.
All right, so how about this? Going into the 06-07 season, who was the best player?
Kobe.
In the 06-07 season.
Let him. I don't.
Because I've heard Chill mention how Kobe was fourth in the MVP race in 06 many times. So I don't know how he really feels about 06 Kobe.
So going into the 06-07 year, who did you think was the best player?
I feel like Chill wants to say Dirk. I'm gonna be honest.
No, I
feel like Chill wants to say Dirk.
I don't want to say Dirk, even though they was in the NBA Finals, because I don't ever feel like I don't ever feel like Dirk. I don't feel like Dirk was ever better than Bryant. He might play better.
Question.
Look at you. There can't be that many other options.
It's even. I'm gonna be honest. If you don't think it's Kobe here, there's clearly something going on.
It was Bryant. It was Bryant. It was Bryant.
Did you think it was Kobe, or are you saying it was Kobe?
No, it was Bryant. It was Bryant. I won't argue that. It was
Kobe
Bryant.
was the best player for no more than a year or two.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
I'm confused how Kobe's the best in 05-06. Like, hear me out before you guys start yelling.
Man,
at
you should lose.
But I'm
Go
like,
ahead.
go ahead.
So,
Okay, so in
be
05-06,
quiet.
you said he averaged 35 views, all NBA first team, all NBA, all defense. But his
First
team
team.
is really bad. They didn't make the playoffs.
They made the playoffs. That's cap.
Oh, did they make the playoffs?
They played the
that
Suns.
year?
They
Yeah,
played the
They
Suns.
lost
Yeah.
to Phoenix.
I
They
was
lost to
thinking
Phoenix.
I was thinking of the wrong year then. That's my bad.
Oh, so you cooked?
He talking about 04-05.
I was thinking about 04-05. That's
Yeah, he thinking about 04-05.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Wrong year. Wrong year.
Yeah, right.
One more question, Lo. One more
Okay, what's the
question.
question?
Do you think between the 3 years Kobe made the finals straight with Powell, do you think LeBron could have did anything to his game to refine his game enough to make one of them finals to meet Kobe?
Do I
Or
think
his
he
team
could
was
have
just,
done it?
or his team was just that bad?
Could he have done anything? He could have been. He could have been a better jump shooter.
He
Definitely
could
better.
have been, but I don't
He
know
could have been a
if
better
that
jump
cements.
shooter.
I don't know if that cements him
Definitely could have been a better.
into the finals. Though. I don't know if that's it could have helped them, but I don't know if that cements him because
For me, the biggest issue they had against Orlando was their big man depth. Like it was just bad.
yeah,
They
I'm gonna
had
say the
nothing.
bigs were still going to the bigs were still going to keep Dwight and them close to the basket as much as possible. So I don't know if that really would have
Even and let's just say for the sake of argument, Lo, let's just say for the sake of argument, Lo,
They
that
weren't
that
beating
Cleveland
Boston.
teams.
Yeah,
Not only that,
I was
Lo.
gonna give him Orlando. I was gonna give him Orlando.
Well, let's just say for the sake of argument, they get by Orlando. I don't think they beat the Lakers because I think that front line is just superior to Cleveland, and I think that's going to be the difference in the series.
Yeah, the 09 Cavs front line was not good because I remember Big Z was not it. Varajar
Right.
was there. You had an old man Ben Wallace was coming in against Dwight and just fouling. Like that's all he was bringing to the table.
I don't think that they beat the Lakers. As good as James could have possibly been in that series, that front line would have destroyed them.
Yeah, I think the NBA world, man, just got shorted on that, man. A Kobe and LeBron final.
You just wanted to be able to push the agendas that Kobe beat.
Yeah,
Bron.
for sure.
Kobe probably
For
would have
sure.
beat
For
Bron,
sure.
and that would have been the whole
For
thing.
sure.
So.
Lil Mars, real quick. Can I ask a question?
Hold on, why is it
about,
so for sure?
No,
for
no.
sure, but I don't have agendas. I ain't biased. But you wanted to push agendas, buddy.
See,
Come
that
on,
was
man.
crazy.
What we doing?
Chill.
Come on, man. What we doing here, yo?
I'm gonna admit the mine. You gonna lie
Me
about
too.
yours.
Did it to
You
answer
gonna
the
lie about
question.
yours.
Chew admitting to his agendas. Nice.
Me too.
You see how I get him? You see?
You
That's
ain't
all I
getting
wanna
it.
do. I
But
did.
But he said he's gonna admit to him, but he's saying that that's not an agenda. Before
that's
because it's almost
Which it is, 100%.
We went over 2.5 hours. I just want to make sure any more Bird questions, because that's kind of
no. We made our point.
All right. Low, I'm glad I was able to. I really didn't. I really just wanted to sit on the sideline, Low. I didn't even want to come in, and I wanted to just come watch.
You can never sit on the sideline.
But do you understand? But do you understand why? Because I just don't think Bird. So let me go back to your MVP statement that you made. Yes, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter that players didn't win MVP, but MVP is still highly based off of team success and who you're competing up against on a year-to-year basis. Again, Jokic this season, I think we could
narratives also
and narratives as well. Narrative also. Jokic this year could have been and probably should have been MVP, and he would have did 3 years in a row. But they didn't give it to him because of narratives, and I honestly believe many people just felt sorry for Joel Embiid that he had not won yet. Now, that does not mean that Embiid didn't play the MVP caliber season, because he did. And Jokic also playing at an MVP caliber season as well. And this year's version of Jokic, in my opinion, is better than his first MVP season. But now, because his first MVP season got an MVP and this year didn't, it doesn't mean that his first year is better than this year. It just means that there's other things that were out of his control that prevented him from winning the MVP. And so
really quickly, Lo, and I'm going to let you, and I'm going to go after
I got
this.
one more question for
The reason why Joker didn't win the league MVP this year is because if he wins the league MVP this year for the third straight year and he wins the finals MVP, I mean, they win the NBA championship and he wins the finals MVP, there's a conversation that we now have to start having that nobody is ready to have. And that's why he didn't. Nobody is ready.
Proves Lowe's point. That's
the problem.
Conversation.
What conversation? Okay, so real quick, Matt. So if he wins the league MVP 3 straight years, right, and the way that he's going in terms of his trajectory and what he's done over the last 4 years in terms of his peak, and he wins the league MVP for the 3rd straight year. They win the NBA championship, and what he does in the NBA championship in order to win the finals MVP, who he went through, the defensive player of the year, the best defensive team, and he dominated. Guess what we got to start doing now? Now we got to start having the conversation. Now we got to start having the conversation that he better than Bird.
See, that's the problem.
I want to be clear.
And it's a real conversation. It's a serious. Why is that a conversation now? Right. Because he just got he got 10 more MVP votes versus where it is now. That's what I'm saying.
It's so close. He's so close to winning that MVP this year that we can actually say he was the best player he should have won. Right. If I don't need the award to say it's a conversation. We should just start having a conversation now. If you feel that way,
you're proving my point. You're proving
my point.
I don't know.
It does. It looks different. It does, and we definitely having a conversation about him at the 5 spot. We definitely having a different conversation.
He's still outside the top 5.
We definitely having a different conversation about that. Definitely.
But do you think though that Kobe being when is that more accurate depiction of Kobe? 10 MVP caliber seasons or 1 MVP?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, Lo. This is why I care about accolades, because when you're playing at that level, other people are playing at it too. It wasn't like they gave the league MVP to Joel Embiid. I mean, he did average 33 and 10. Damn. It wasn't like he was 20 and 6.
If we being honest, we know.
If they both had 0 MVPs.
Wait. No, let me be
clear. It goes to Jokic.
What is a more accurate depiction of, because this is what Jokic, before we got to the finals, Jokic was 2nd team All-NBA versus Jokic was an MVP caliber player. What is a more accurate depiction of who Jokic was this season?
He was an MVP caliber player.
So that's my point, that the accolade does not properly assess who Jokic was this season. It just doesn't. And there's several years where that is applicable. So me going off the accolade this year does not give me an accurate depiction of how good Jokic was, because the accolade he received was just a 2nd team All-NBA.
And he was not why Kobe 11 chill.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though, Lo. I mean, that's why you have to, like, when you're talking about like league MVPs. That's why I'm talking about accolades. I'm sorry. That's why you have first team All NBA and second team All NBA, because it's a depiction of where you were during your time at that league, where you were in the league at that time.
But even that doesn't, again, because Jokic was just second team All NBA. None of us believes that he's a second All NBA caliber player, though. No, it doesn't.
I don't believe. But with that being said, we also
you
said Luka should have been first team, right?
He was first.
Would you?
Yeah, but Chill says he shouldn't. Shea and Luka shouldn't have been first team.
I don't think they should have been first team. I didn't think that they should have been first team All NBA.
So it's not an accurate depiction.
It's not an accurate. That's all I'm just saying is that.
Well, sometimes they get it. It's the same thing as the league MVP. Sometimes they get it wrong.
And the point is, if they can get it wrong,
then it's not giving.
But that doesn't mean that these guys aren't playing at that level, Mars. Because I think that's.
So I can say he's playing at that level without him having it. Why do I need to bring it up? If Steph Curry in 2016 is playing at an MVP level and he's playing at a level where he should win the MVP unanimously, if he didn't win it unanimously, does that change how well he played? Like, no, I can just.
Well, he still won it though. He still won it.
He did, and the same way that in 2015, when he should have been the Finals MVP and wasn't, I can still say he was the best player for Golden State in that series. I didn't need to see the Finals MVP for that. I could just watch the series unfold and not need the accolade to prove it. The thing is, the accolade for me is just using other people's opinions to substantiate my own. That's weird to me.
No,
I don't get why I need Rachel Nichols' Finals MVP vote to determine how I feel.
Well, you already.
I'm sorry, I don't care about her opinion. She's irrelevant to what I think.
And I understand that part. I understand that part too. But you and I have already had this conversation. It's already when a guy wins a league MVP or the defensive player of the year, it's stamped. What I already felt like it was anyway. So if he wins it, well, I already felt like this about this guy anyway. So it's not like he won it and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's the league MVP. Well, I felt like he was playing like that anyway. But if he doesn't win it, that doesn't negate the fact that he was still playing at that level.
So then the conversation doesn't need to change.
I get that, buddy. I do get that part. But I'm not gonna.
So the conversation around these guys doesn't need to change.
Hold on for a second, Mars. Let's get back on, buddy. That's not the. I understand that. That's the point, buddy. The point that I'm making is I don't want to diminish the fact that I did win the league MVP. The fact that you still played at that. The fact that you played at that level, I'm not going to exclude that. I'm going to completely stay on that. Absolutely. You won the league MVP. I mean, you played at an MVP level. But the fact that he won it, I'm not going to exclude that neither. That matters.
But
because he was also playing at an MVP level. Yeah. That's it. They were both just playing at MVP levels.
The fact that you have it, that one played better.
Giannis was too.
Yeah, Giannis played at an MVP level. Embiid played at an MVP level. Jokic played at an MVP level. Jokic played better than all of them. He wasn't the one who won the MVP. And like for me, if you and Chill, you said it, if you can acknowledge that people are playing at an MVP level, and that if this guy won it, it doesn't change that he was playing at an MVP level, blah blah blah. That means that these awards shouldn't change the conversation around these guys. Because we acknowledge that Joel Embiid was playing at this level. Him winning the MVP shouldn't change the conversation around him. He's the same guy.
But when you do win the awards, when you do get those accolades, it do change the conversation, though.
Winning the defensive player of the year, that matters, yo. Don't get me wrong, Mars. I don't want to. I don't want to diminish that a guy is playing at this level. I don't want to do that, and I will not do that. But the fact that I won the league MVP, the fact that I won the defensive player of the year, that matters, man. Just like it matters
to them, congratulations.
Just like it matters to, just like me, you, and Lo. We both, all three of us, got the top song, and all three of us are nominated for a Grammy. But Mars, you won it. That doesn't diminish the fact that I did sell 3 million albums, and I'm one of the hottest people on the planet.
Right,
but
Chill, but us as fans,
the fact that you won it, that's a big deal, though.
Yeah, but are you gonna say like if we're having artist debates? So if someone just says, well, Mars is better than Chill and Low because he won the Grammy and they didn't, I'm sorry, that's dumb.
Right. Chill,
well, obviously, there's more to it. I think both are correct. Like the award itself also matters. That's why you're saying they're playing at MVP level, because the MVP is the thing that you're comparing it to. And there's also that you have to put in more context to it to make it make sense. Because if you just say it blindly without any other prior like information with it, then obviously you sound stupid. So it's both.
But if MVP awards didn't exist, I would just say they're playing at a top 3 level. There's just an award.
I can't make their cases without
it. That's it.
But go ahead, buddy. The analogy you just used, Chill. Could you name like 3 top rappers you remember up for a Grammy nomination?
3 top rappers that I remember.
Nah, like you just used, like you, Mars and Low. You, Mars and Low.
What makes you think I'd be a rapper? I'm a
We just use you as an
You got bars. You got bars.
I'm a soul singer.
So to answer your question, buddy, let's say I'm Jay, Mars is Eminem, and Low is, let's say, Lil Wayne or Drake.
I had to be Eminem. Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's say and Low is Drake. And let's say Low is Drake.
I'm rooting for Jay, right? I'm rooting for Jay. But if they somehow pick Eminem to win it, even though like the world is screaming Jay, us as fans gonna have to, like, some gonna say politics, some gonna try to use every other excuse in the book to why they artists didn't win the Grammy or whatever the case may be. But sometimes that's just what it be, man. It be politics.
Yeah, just like Macklemore winning the award over Kendrick Lamar, the album of the year. Like, we all know Kendrick should have won that.
It be in my opinion.
I understand what you're saying, Chill, but I think even the things you said today kind of proves the point to why I'm not saying it doesn't matter completely, but I think we put too much stock. If you are willing to go from talking about Jokic, from however you talk about him now, to talking to him about him being as good, if not better, than Larry Bird all time, just because of 10 more votes, I think that's an extreme stretch. And on the flip side, if you can acknowledge that there's several years, and I think this is applicable because Real Talk was making it seem like maybe this is just an outlier. Maybe not Real Talk. Somebody's making it seem like these are just outliers. I think this is applicable to every top 10 player in the NBA, or every really top 20 player, where you can go through several years of their careers and look at it and clearly make the assessment that wherever they finish in the MVP race, wherever team they finish on All-NBA or All-Defensive, or even if they did or did not make the All-NBA All-Defensive team, may not give us accurate depiction of how good they were that year or throughout their careers. Right. So again, I think a much better, and I get that the objective is to win the MVP, but there are so many things that could be out of my control that will aid me in winning the MVP, such as team success, such as who's on my roster, such as who I'm competing with. Because a lot of those years, Magic was probably just as good and could have won it, but he's splitting MVP votes with Kareem. So now that doesn't mean that he's a worse player. It just means that I on my team, we're discerning between who's more valuable, and now I don't win it now.
But
so
I think
so now.
I just don't want to get rid of it, Lo, because I feel like it matters. And the reason why I feel like it matters is because the reason why it matters is because of the people who actually won it. Because the problem that we having with the league MVP is that the best player doesn't win it all the time. The best player has won it, which has been the standard, but then the best player doesn't win it. So now it diminishes it. Like, wait a minute, you're not as good as this dude. Are you as good as this dude? And then now what we're doing with the league MVP is we're matching the league MVP up with other league MVPs. Well, wait a minute, you weren't even close to this. Not only were you not the best player, not only were you not better than this league MVP, you aren't even the best player in the league. So it kind of diminishes it when that happens, but I don't want to get rid of it because I do feel like it matters when you're talking about the best player in the game.
OG, my problem is this one, right? When it comes to the accolade things, like two things could always be true. But the problem that I do have, Low and Mars, y'all overextended like it shouldn't have no value at all. I know I'm coming in mid-conversation, so I might be a little off a little bit.
Mars, that's Mars.
Mars, yeah.
But I'm gonna leave you to it, brother.
I just real quick. I'm not saying the MVP award means nothing at all. I'm saying it means nothing in the context of debating who's better between two players.
But so I think
the award should still exist. I think the players care about it. They played clearly. Joel Embiid wanted to be the MVP. It was pretty clear. Like you can see Jaren Jackson Jr. wanted to be Defensive Player of the Year. Like players have made it clear they play for these awards. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm saying when us like on platforms like this or on ESPN are talking about who's better between Kareem and Tim Duncan, we shouldn't just be talking about Kareem's 6 MVPs versus Duncan's 2, and then Kareem has 2 Finals MVPs and Duncan has 3. I think we should be talking about how good these guys are as players.
That can't be the whole conversation. It has to be more to it than that. It has to be more to it than that.
That's where I say they don't matter. That's where I say they don't matter.
Yeah, I think that's what we can agree.
Do some accolades weigh more than others? Like, what weighs more? And we're talking about top 10 players. What weighs more, a league MVP or a championship?
It depends on who their
An
favorite
MVP?
player is.
I
It
think an
depends on who
MVP
their
does.
favorite player is. Though,
They weigh the
in my
same
opinion.
amount to me. 0 grams.
But again, because the reason why I say that, McDuff, is because winning a championship doesn't give me an accurate depiction of how well you played.
Was he the guy?
To,
That's just
to
how
me,
good your team was.
if Joker won let's say he won the MVP, right?
This year?
But
Yeah.
he lost in the playoffs.
that would be terrible for him.
Oh my God,
Thank
they
you.
would've
I think it would be. I think that will probably diminish his MVP.
And that's because once again, people use these
You saying
accolades
lost
to
Exactly
determine
what
about
happened to
these
Embiid.
players.
Exactly what
Jokic
happened to
winning the
Embiid.
MVP this year and then losing the playoffs doesn't change how well he played in the regular season. It's the same reason why
Correct.
now when people were saying you can go back, everyone denies it now. There a lot of fans were saying Embiid was the MVP this year. He then
I thought he was.
fell short in the
I
playoffs.
stand by it.
I said it too.
He
wasn't
fell
the
short.
MVP
He
this
fell
year.
short in the playoffs, and then everyone changed their tune. This is why Embiid shouldn't have been the MVP. This is why Jokic should have. You weren't saying that a few
That's
months ago.
true.
The
No, you
playoffs
weren't.
hold no bearing on the MVP award. And my issue is people act like it does. Jokic didn't deserve the regular season MVP because he then went and did it in the playoffs. That's irrelevant. Jokic could have won the MVP this year, lost in the first round, and I still would have said he deserved the MVP.
Which
It
he
doesn't
did.
mean anything.
Which he
The
did.
problem is people just keep conflating them and saying, well, this guy didn't show up in the playoffs, so how can he win the MVP the next year?
But
They
also,
don't- they don't
but also,
go
Mark,
to
this
the
problem.
winning
Hold on, Mark.
championship.
But this other problem be coming because y'all conflict the point of like the winning thing with team success. So now the problem with the awards is no consistency with the awards because you 1 year you'll tell us winning matters and you putting up numbers matters. Then Jokic clearly did that better than Embiid, but they still got Embiid where he had a lesser record and he put less numbers, and that's the real problem with the awards. There's no
Politics.
consistency
That's
with
what
it.
I was just
But
saying.
but
Politics.
now, like I said, with like when you have people like you guys that say like winning is a team accomplishment, now a top tier award where winning should count when you win an award. We got guys like Russ winning as a 6 seed, even Jokic winning as a lower seed. You know, and that's where the problem comes in. And I think that's the only real problem with the awards is that it's not a consistent criteria. If it was a consistent criteria, I think we could value it more.
That's
Lowe's
what I mean.
point,
When you have
really quick.
subjective voters, that's what you're going to have, and that's
Right.
another
Yeah.
reason. I'm
There
basing
ain't no
my
voters in the
opinion on other people's
championship.
opinions.
And really quickly to Lowe's point, like you talk about like championships because it's not a legit depiction of how a guy played. Can you imagine what the logic would have been on Kobe Bryant if they would have lost in 2010 in Game 7? How he shot, even though I thought he played great in that game, even though he didn't shoot well, the fact that he stuck his nose in there and got 15 rebounds, the fact that he made free throws the way he did, even though he didn't shoot the basketball particularly well, he did the other things in order for them to win. And if he doesn't do that and they lose, what's the logic that's going to be on him?
They
As
cook
opposed
and
to that
they cook.
right.
The logic
That he couldn't
He can't do it
beat
without
the
Shaq
Celtics.
having
He
him on
couldn't
the
beat the
bench.
That's
best.
what I mean.
I'll
And,
also
and
say, like,
even though I thought that
What
even
would
though
the
I thought he
logic be
even
on
though I thought he
LeBron if he
played
would have
really
lost to
good.
KD?
I think he.
Chill.
I don't think he played that great.
Well,
But
so
yeah, they
here's
were
the other problem.
He
with
did
the
lose to
awards,
KD, buddy.
because we're almost at 3
In
hours.
2012.
SB
2012.
Yes.
SB, what it when somebody makes an All NBA team, what does that mean?
They
I'm gonna
was
leave you to it, Lo.
one of the
All right,
one of the top
position.
15, one of the
All
top
right,
15
Lo.
players in the league,
Pause.
one of the best players,
No.
top 3 players in your position.
all right, chill. And see, that's the other problem there.
Yeah,
is that
Julius
people
Randle's
don't-
not top 15. sir.
People don't.
I mean,
That's
that's
how
what
you
it's
get
supposed.
this.
That's what it's supposed to mean. When
But
you
it's
play,
not, but
you
it's
play
not,
like.
though.
But no, wait. I know
Mars, Julius Randle was
Randle-
borderline top 10, bro.
No.
I'm
Shut
clipped.
up.
I'm clipped.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
I just want to see his reaction. I just want to see his
I'm
reaction,
clipped.
bro.
But SB, it's
Not
not even top 15. It just means that
You
you
play
are.
like it. You play.
No,
like
it's not even that. It's just you're one of the best
Oh,
players.
shit.
You're either one of the best. You're one of the 6 best guards, one of the 6 best forwards, and one of the 3 best centers. There are centers that are going to make it throughout NBA history that are clearly not one of the top 15 players. They didn't even play like an All NBA caliber player.
Mhm.
They
They
just
changed it
were the
this year,
3rd best.
next year?
They were quote unquote the 3rd best center. That's all
Shout out
that
to
means.
Andre Drummond's All NBA
nah,
season.
what you saying is true, 100% true. But with the Randall argument, like I know y'all hate Randall, but his numbers improved all around across the board during the regular season. So it was understandable, like you said, because now when you go just out the positions that's available, he with his numbers, he did deserve to be on the 3rd team. Now
So
I don't
that-
think he's nowhere near the top 25, but his numbers.
Yeah, that's the point.
But that's kind of
people
the
who
point,
say
though.
he made the
Yeah.
All NBA team. People still think he's the best player on the Knicks.
Because for yeah, that too. For
That's
example,
crazy.
like even when they did the whole Curry and Magic thing over the past like 2 weeks,
Mhm.
oh, Magic has 9 first team and Curry only has like 4 or 5. Does anybody here believe that an accurate depiction of Steph Curry is that he's only made 4 first team All NBAs? Does anybody believe that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So why? So again, and that doesn't mean that Magic didn't play at that level. It just means that telling us that he made second team in a year where he's playing alongside KD, and they're not going to give him first team in 2017 because of Westbrook and Harden. It doesn't mean that he didn't play just as well as them throughout the season. That doesn't mean that most people would not have had him as a top 5 player throughout the season. Matter of fact, I think in 2017 or 2018, KD finished like 9th in the MVP race. Nobody here believes that is an accurate depiction of who Kevin Durant was at that time.
No,
so again,
this is my point. No, I got a question for you though. So how can we fairly rank the older players with the more the years coming? Because the league is gonna get better. People are gonna get more skill.
So watch them with your eyes.
That's what I was just saying. So how you're not gonna be able to watch it with your ass? So how can you fairly rank these?
The games will still be on the internet. The games will still be on the internet.
Wait. Let Lo answer the question, y'all. Let Lo answer the question.
That's what I was about to say.
How can you fairly rank these guys in the top 10, like the Magic and the Birds? And do not be nasty. Get your honest
no.
I see it on your face. I see it before you say it.
He's gonna say pack him up.
And exactly. So this is I'm so happy Chill is going now. So I can really
straight eviction notice.
Yeah. If we're being honest with ourselves, let's go back and look at who was making all defensive team as forwards in the 80s. No, it was not really cutting it. Bobby Jones, sure. But the more important digging. No, I'm talking about for majority, not like 4 years.
Oh, okay, the entire decade. Okay.
Yeah, because if Bird and this goes back to what I'm saying about why all this context matters. I truly believe most of y'all wouldn't even say that Bird was a two-way player if he never made an all-defensive team. In all honesty,
I don't. He made one. He's still not a defense. He's not a.
That is nasty.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. And when he made all defensive teams, no. The competition at the 4 position for all defensive team was cooked. If he had played in particular, like in the 2000s or even the 90s, I do not think he would have 3. He might be lucky to get 1. But I do not think that anybody would sit here and call him a two-way player if he never made an all defensive team at all.
Playing guards at the forward spot in the defensive team.
And so every single time I watch Bird, I don't think Bird defensively is that big of a difference at his absolute best defensively is that big of a difference from Kevin Durant at his absolute best defensively. I would still say Bird is better, but I don't think
Durant's a better perimeter defender. But
yeah, Bird played the passing lanes a little more.
We've already been through all this.
This is getting away from the point a little bit.
Yeah, we've already.
The point I'm making is that again, these all defensive selections really don't tell you the difference between who they are defensively. So the more I dig, and I keep digging and digging and digging, and I watch more games and I look at who he's competing against, and I start to realize like, oh, yeah, it's easy to make an all defensive team when your competition is Dan Roundfield versus Kawhi Leonard and Giannis. Yeah, it's going to be easier to make it then.
I will say, like with time,
why you got that meme when you going crazy?
Like, not everybody can go back and watch.
The Jordan Glaze was good.
Yeah, Keem, everybody they can't, which is why when people voice their opinion, respectfully, I don't care. Don't care about a lot of y'all people's opinion.
I'm like 50 years from now, someone's gonna be like Giannis and Dwight are the same. They both have 1 championship, MVPs, and DPOIs.
So
hey,
but Giannis has the finals MVP.
No, hold on, wait, because I hit Mars and Dub with something because I know y'all be on the air attacks thing, right? And I noticed, and I feel like I shouldn't.
I'm not on the air attacks thing.
I feel like I shouldn't be giving you no more ammo. I feel like, hold on, wait, let me finish. I feel like I should give you no more ammo to cook people, but I feel like with your air attacks thing you do, why do you not air attacks players for coming in the league dominating like a Magic, like a Jordan during their era? Because it was easy for Rick. Because that says a lot about your league that a guy like Larry Bird could take a team that was a lottery team to a playoff team, but can't nobody in this era do that. So why you don't do that to people when you do your air attacks?
Oh,
you can add to your arsenal.
No, that. If you're gonna be honest with you, I think people gas that up as well. They had a completely different coach, completely different system when Bird came in as a rookie. If you go back and look at the other year, if I'm not mistaken, I think they had a player coach the year before he got there. They were not well organized before Bird got there. But again,
I mean,
Dennis Johnson.
I don't get why you disrespected Dave Cowens and just called him a player coach. Like
he was literally playing while
he was, but like say his name.
Oh,
he's not just a player coach.
Fine. Yeah, for those who didn't know, Dave Cowens.
Mars don't give him.
That's what the Celtics do. They got player coaches.
Was an
Bill
MVP
Russell,
of the
Dave
league.
Cowens.
Oh, y'all don't care about
MVPs.
MVPs.
No, and also,
Yeah, that's strong Mars. Strong Mars, though.
For those who don't know,
No, but like, I'm sure like many people in the chat didn't know Dave Cowens was a player coach.
Yeah, they did. I'm pretty sure they did. No one knew that because when you bring it up, they're like, "Oh, really?" For those who don't know, Dave Cowens had never coached before then. He was playing on the team, and they wanted a player to coach them as well. Well, Bill Finch, when he came, or Finch or whatever his name is, when he came in, he had already had, if I'm not mistaken, like 8 years of coaching underneath his belt. So yes, I think that would actually play a pretty big role in why maybe one team potentially underachieve because you have a player also trying to coach versus a rookie coming in and turning a 20-some win team into a 60-win team. I think
any league with player coaches kind of
that's kind of crazy. But now, low, even this though, right? Let's take the winning
other than Bill Russell,
because this is why we had which was insane with Ron. OG, your ticket talking about Jordan coming in rookie year average 35, which is the most blasphemous shit I ever heard.
What's wrong with that?
That shit will not happen.
We're
not going to go to that point. But this is my point though. This is my point though, because they're taking the fact of the era and think what he did in the era because it was just easy to do that and think they can do it today. No rookie can come in the league today and dominate like how Jordan was dominating off bat. No, especially with the flaws that Jordan had in his game. And I think maybe you could add that with your era tags that you do, like how players just easily come in the league and dominate with the flaws that they have.
Well, I do think I'm gonna say because I think Luka came in and dominated. I think if
not like
if Zion was healthy, I think he also would have came. I think there are some players, but I don't like doing a whole. I'm taking this 80s player and I'm gonna see how he looks in this.
That's dumb. I hate when people do that.
Yeah, they play in their era, they play on their team, Any more questions? Because we're almost going 3 hours. I don't want to be
one more question. Why do you? Because I watched a show before y'all, and I think SB was talking about Jordan and stuff. Why can't Jordan be considered the GOAT after 93? Why do you feel, or Mario? Why do you feel like he shouldn't?
Why? Who said he couldn't be? What are you saying?
Why is it?
I said when Jordan retired the first time, people were calling him the GOAT,
which he shouldn't have been.
That's glaze. Would you agree that? Would you agree they were glazing Jordan?
Probably so.
After what he did, no.
How is that not
a three-peat?
Bill Russell 8-peated
the scoring titles.
Bill Russell 8-peated.
I think if Jordan never played another game, he'll still be in the conversation. He'll still be in the GOAT.
And the conversation is different than being the GOAT, though.
But people will still have him. Like if the percentage is 65 now, it'll probably be 50-50 now. Like
he wouldn't be the GOAT if he stopped.
I'm
there.
sorry,
Bro.
there's no.
He'd be in the top 10.
Okay. Let me just ask Mac. If Jordan could have been the GOAT in '93 after first retirement, who did he pass? Who was the GOAT before Jordan took the mantle?
I mean, you could have put passing Magic, Kareem, Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain.
Who do you have number 3?
I don't know
who do you have right now. If I ask you for a top 10, who would be number 3?
Who would be number what?
Oh no, he got 4. He got no. Don't ask him. He got Curry.
Shut up. Who would be who?
Okay, after MJ and LeBron, who do you have next on the list?
He don't have MJ and LeBron. He got Curry one.
I got Curry. I got LeBron. I got Kobe and Kareem.
So
Kareem, he will pass Kareem.
He passed Kareem. Cool. Do you know how far the gap would have to be between Kareem and MJ from once Jordan fully retired in 98 or 03? That means Jordan was number 1. Kareem was so far behind. Like you get the picture I'm painting. If he passed him in 93, I did everything else he did. I agree that Jordan was clearly the GOAT. But if we're saying that Jordan, without the because a lot of people do the accolade thing, without the extra 2 MVPs he won when he came back, without the extra 3 finals MVP he won when he came back, without the extra 3 championships he won when he came back, without the 3 extra scoring titles he won when he came back, without the extra 3 all defensive teams he won when he came back, without the extra
all the statistics.
Yeah, I want to say maybe an extra.
Yeah, he wouldn't have 30. He wouldn't have 30,000 points.
No, it's extra 10,000.
Yeah, let's see. When Jordan retired in 93,
I already got it. It's 20.
How many points did he have?
It's 21,000.
So Jordan with 20,000 points.
Yeah,
So without
man.
30,000 points, without the three all defensive teams, two MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, 3 championships.
If you
all of
and
that,
just
there's no way
600
you're telling
games.
me that's enough to put him over Kareem's 6 MVPs, 6 rings, 38,000 points. At that time in 1993, at that time in 1993, Kareem was number 1 all time in blocks. Kareem had the most MVPs of all time, had the best longevity of all time, did all of that, 11 all defensive teams, like 15 all NBA teams. Jordan had maybe 9 all NBA teams, maybe something like that. Like, there's no way you're telling me that Kareem is below Jordan.
No.
Yeah, that's impossible.
If Jordan retired in 93, he would still be looked at as the greatest scorer because he would have been averaging 32
score.
This man named all his freaking accolades. I named one. Calm down. He would still he would still be looked at as one of the greatest, as the greatest scorer. Averaging,
that's not the greatest player though, McDuff.
I understand.
Yeah, carry on.
I'm bringing it along. I'm bringing it on. It's not just 1 point. But I'm saying he would still be looked at as the greatest scorer with the 32 in the playoff 34. When he three-peated, there's only Kobe and Shaq done that. So we would still see I don't know if y'all don't, but we still see the difficulty in that, in three-peating. Also, the competition that he beat, he still got Magic and he still got Isaiah and the Bad Boy Pistons. He won a Defensive Player of the Year. He's got all NBA, all defensive teams. He basically got all the accolades in every statistical category and still would have been looked at the greatest scorer in only 9 seasons. We would have looked at him as, yes, he's still in the GOAT conversation.
I'm not saying GOAT conversation. I'm saying the GOAT is Glaze. Calling him the GOAT is Glaze.
No, it's not. At that time, no, it's not.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, and I'll go back to it again. I don't care about accolades. If I was around in 93 and Jordan retired, I would have said Jordan is the best.
The man still got more. He would have had more Finals MVPs than
Mark.
He would have had way more. He would have had 3 Finals MVPs.
No,
to
you're
Kareem's
cooked. You're
2.
cooked. You
he would have 3 Finals MVPs to Kareem's 2. Facts.
A Defensive Player of the Year. What are we talking about?
Jordan ended his career with 14 All-Star selections, but you have to take away 5 of them because they came after 1993.
More scoring titles.
So that's 9. That's 9 All-Star teams. That's 9 All-Star teams. He has 10 scoring titles, but you have to take away 3 of them because they came after. So he has 7 scoring titles. So we're at 9 All-Stars, 7 scoring titles.
He
has 3. Yes, that's fantastic. He still has his 3 steals titles. Congratulations. He has 6 NBA championships in real life. No, he'd only have 3. He has 6 Finals MVPs. He only has 3. He has 11 All NBAs in real life, but you have to take away 3 of them.
He had 7.
So he had 7. He'd have 7 or 8. I think he'd have 8. He has the All Rookie team still. The Rookie of the Year, cool. He has 9 All Defensive teams. Take away 3 of them. He has 6. He has
same as LeBron.
Hold on, Mars. I got a question.
LeBron didn't exist yet. That's irrelevant.
Oh my God.
Hold on, Mars.
LeBron didn't exist yet.
I'm so serious. After watching everything up until this point, Jordan wouldn't even be in my top 10 if he retired in 93.
Are you're lying to yourself?
Wow. I would say top 10. I would say top.
Are you saying he wouldn't be in your top 10 now? Like with everyone who's come after, or he wouldn't be in your top 10?
No, after everybody who's came after.
I think top 10 at the bottom though for sure.
No, not mine.
Who would be past him?
I think y'all misunderstood everything I've said up until this point. Again, I'm going off of how many years you can provide this high level of play. And so you're telling me he's only providing it for like 7 years? No.
8.
No.
Give him 8.
And nobody passed him.
You got his rookie season?
Yes. 28 points a game.
Even 9 years of top level.
If he wasn't injured, he would play the lead his whole career.
So he's only providing 7 to 8 years. No. No, that would not be enough for me to put him in my top 10.
Averaging more than
That's
what LeBron averaged for a career.
I'm not gonna lie. If
The
you put
all-time
everything
lead,
Lois said all show about Larry
all-time
Bird
leader in
having
points
10,
per game.
you wouldn't be surprised.
Both
about
career and playoffs, but he's not top 10. That's
Hey
crazy.
Mars, all I'm
He
just
wouldn't have the
because
most
he was
career
he was
points.
only
He
in the
wouldn't have
playoffs.
So you don't
for
hold
a
on.
couple
So you don't have
years.
Will Chamberlain in your top 10?
No.
Oh, okay. I get it.
He ain't in my top 10
Loser.
either.
You ending
I say that loser.
Yeah, that
Wow.
Low.
But he's a loser.
All I'm saying for the accolade,
I gotta end this.
merch.
Yeah,
Bill Russell's
Michael
whipping,
hadn't
boy.
done
I just
enough in
wanted to know
1993
that.
to
I
be
just wanted that.
That's all I'm saying.
I've
For
already
the
said
accolade
like,
merchants, he hadn't done enough, and
Yeah,
it's
he
weird
had
that
not
they're
enough.
saying he had to.
But
I
wait,
think
Mars,
he
the
was.
whole debate you made your case with being using accolades. You was accolades.
Yeah, because
he's
but
saying
but
he
like
would.
for the accolade
But you
merchants,
said Jordan
he
is
hasn't
better.
done
But
But
I
you said
said
he wasn't
me,
scoring.
like I
that
said, for
scoring
me,
is
if
still
Jordan
ridiculous.
retired in 1993
you would still
and I
have
was
him in
around,
there.
I would have said he was the best ever. He's still not the greatest because he doesn't have the longevity. I would have said he's the best player to ever exist. And because I think his peak.
Oh yeah,
He did
I would
differentiate
say
that
I
early
would
in
I
the
would
day.
I would say he had the best
I
peak.
still wouldn't call him the
Yes.
GOAT. I would still have Kareem as the GOAT based on the
Okay,
longevity.
so Mars. So let's say this: Messi's the GOAT, but Ronaldo R9 is the best player.
No, because Messi's clearly
No,
better.
Messi's both.
Like Messi at
and
his peak is not better than Ronaldo. Okay, we could go. You
I'm
got
gonna be honest. I'm gonna just assume you don't know too much about football.
That's crazy.
Messi
Ronaldo at his peak. Ronaldo.
Messi
But
clears,
you
sir.
got
Messi
it.
clears. Messi
Yeah,
clears.
Messi clears,
Again,
bro.
just before
No,
we
I'm
go
talking
on.
about R9 Brazil.
Yeah, but Messi clears both of them. Both for now. Clears.
Shit. Okay,
I wanna
that's another
just-
topic, another conversation, another day.
That's not
Again,
really a conversation.
before we wrap it up, the list, my top 10 again is MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Duncan, Kobe, Shaq, Hakeem, Curry,
Shaq.
Magic, and Russell.
Move Duncan up.
Bird at 11 is Wilt 12?
Got the same
Yeah,
people.
both
Mine
of
just switched up a little
Will
bit.
and Bird
Wait,
is
you
not
got
a
Curry?
top 10
We're
player.
gonna
Bird
talk
is
about the Curry thing later, but all them
We
Curry
have
things-
to end the show. Look,
Yeah,
you
we
haven't
gotta
got no
That's what I
super
said later.
chats.
That's what I said later.
Oh, here. I'll read them real quick. Here's super chats. Low knows how to make my pee grow.
All right, bro.
Yo,
Oh,
Mike said I have 80 as a top 12 defender all time. Shout out to you.
not too crazy.
Mike also said I think Draymond might have the highest defensive IQ of all time.
Give me
Top
Kevin Garnett.
10.
Give me
I
Kevin
don't know about
Garnett.
that.
top 10, but not the best.
Juana Nestle or Nessel, whatever it is.
Wanya Nettles. Wanya Nettles.
Nettles. 60 centers only full of Hall of Fame because it was the beginning of time. I guess
Valid.
Mike also said top 3 pick and roll defender of all time. Is he saying Draymond is that? Because I don't.
No, he's asking for the top.
I think he's asking. Yeah.
We have to
Kevin
look
Garnett.
at guards and centers.
Bigs, man. Kevin Garnett.
Giannis.
AD, not Giannis. AD.
Not yet. Oh,
Kevin Garnett.
Not
Anthony
Giannis?
Davis.
No, not
Nah, not Giannis. Kevin Garnett. Anthony Davis.
Okay.
King and Martin. There you go. Defender Sean Marion. There you go.
I think Draymond's a great pick and roll.
I'm about to say if
Yeah,
we talking about
I'll go
specifically
Draymond. I'll
bigs,
go Dre. I'll go Dre.
but it's really Drew Holiday. You know this.
Yeah.
Reggie Rez says ticket intern chat in 3, 2, 1. But instead of that, what we're doing, we're ending the chat in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for coming out. Larry Bird, not top 10. I stand by that, man. I stand by that, bro.
You might have convinced me, bro. I got him 10. You might have convinced me.
Don't let low.
Hey, Mars, upload some shit on Mars Talk Sports, man.
Oh man, I retired from YouTube, man. I ain't gonna lie.